This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Many, Mickey, Fishy!
You are listening to the Voices of Wrestling podcast with your hosts, Joe Lanza.
X out and go listen to some boring podcast where they're afraid of their own shadow. Okay? Don't listen to Joe Lanza, because Joe Lanza's not changing.
And Rich Craich.
I like him. Who delivers this guy in a big spot?
Joe, don't yell at me. I like him.
In the big spot, who delivers better than this guy?
Stop yelling at me. I agree.
All right, welcome once again to the Voices of Wrestling Flagship podcast. I'm Rich Craich, alongside, as always, the king of banter, the man who's achieved godlike status, Mr. Joe Lanza. Joe, what's happening?
How you doing?
Doing well. We wrote a book. Hey.
Yeah.
So tired.
Really tired.
We got to figure out. Yeah, we got to move Wrestle Kingdom, remove this book or something, remove the holidays. Something's got to happen. We can't. It's unsustainable. The holidays, the book, Wrestle Kingdom, it all can't come at the same time. It's just enough. Enough is enough.
Yeah. And then I was sick the whole time as well. Still, I've been popping lozenges all day long to get ready for this because I had no voice all day. But I wasn't going to miss the Wrestle Kingdom preview show. Got a big time sore throat over here. Working deep into the night, the last 3 or 4 nights to get this book done. I think for the first time in 5 years, I didn't hand something in literally 30 seconds before you're hitting.
Right. Usually, yeah, you were last minute, but yeah, usually I'm like, Joe, I'm hitting publish, send it in now, or fuck you. Like, it's not in the book. Like, Chase Owens just doesn't get a profile. Like, if you don't have it to me in the next 3 seconds, fuck off. Chase Owens doesn't get a profile. So, no, it was pretty good. You had everything done, I don't know, 3 hours before I published, so not bad. That's good.
Well, I think I finished it 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock a.m. And what time did you get up?
I got up at 4. I got up at 4, yeah, so...
Well, then, I must have finished at 3 or 4. So I guess I did finish right at the gun again. But,
I didn't publish it until like 7, so you were all right. You had a little bit of time. Because I still had to write 2 profiles, too. So I was actually, believe it or not, for the first time ever, you were done with your work, and I still had 2 more things to go. I had to write the Satoshi Kojima profile at 5:30 in the morning. That's really living. That's living. When you wake up, crack the knuckles, and go, all right, let me talk about the strongest arm, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. Who wasn't Azuka the last one to go in though?
Yes. Oh, that's right. I was doing Azuka and Kojima, I think, or maybe it was. So yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, it was Azuka that was the last one. So yeah, I do. That was a fun one. I had my idea for what I was going to write about that one too, because obviously it was a whole lot of fun. The story with him and Tenzan up until the last few minutes. That was fine. It was just one of these things that I was like, he was on my list. I knew what I was going to write about him, but like you definitely pass him. Like he is the absolute last one you're going to write about. You go through everybody else first before you go. Okay, I'll get to Azuka. So. Or Iska, I forget how you're supposed to pronounce it. Doesn't matter anymore. He's gone, so it's fine.
The thing about the profiles is, you think it's fun to take all the big names, right?
Oh, it's daunting. I hate the big names.
But then you realize, halfway through the process, the big names require big effort. And you can't really mail it in when you got Kota Ibushi staring you in the face. You know what I mean? You got to do something substantial. So it's like, I have learned as a veteran of the book to run away from the big names. Let everybody else have the big names, because that's where the mental fatigue comes in. There's 4 hours until the book is going to be published, and you're staring at a blank Jay White page, and it's just so intimidating because you can't throw 3 sentences into Jay White. You have to do it justice. So, but for once, now here the thing about it was, I usually bite off more than I can chew, and I didn't do that this year. I didn't claim any singles guys until the very end of the process. I just did my tag teams. I did my under 5 matches guys. I did my trios. Usually I'll do that and claim about 20 singles wrestlers, and then it's just too much. I pushed myself too hard. So I think that's why this year, everybody else finished in plenty of time, and you were the last straggler left this year for once. And and you get so stressed out and so angry.
It's tough. Well, everybody else finishes their writing, and my work's only begun. That's the problem. Everybody does their little writing, and they think, okay, I'm done. And you're done. Everything's ready to go. It's like, no, the hard part is sitting there copying and pasting and bolding these fucking stats and making sure everything's left aligned and stuff. There's all this bullshit that nobody knows about. They do their writing, they're done, they put their keyboard away, and they're like, it's ready to go. And it's like, no, my work has only begun, and I'm also doing the writing as well. But I do get very stressed out. You're right.
It's getting chippy, see? I even met, you get real chippy this time of year, It's everything, every little thing sets you off, It's like if someone finds it, I'll be like, hey, I think we
this year was Shane Taylor. The best part is this year was Shane Taylor. Of all human beings on the entire book, there's thousands of names in this book. There's 300,000 words, by the way. VoicesWrestling.com. It's on the right sidebar as well. VoicesWrestling.com /NJPW 19 book as well. So we have 3,000 words, 19 chapters, hundreds of guys, just these incredible essays up and down. Like there's just insane amount.
Let me walk people through this. Yeah, let people do it. So I'm going through. And I'm writing my profiles, and I'm cross-referencing our statistics with my data, to try to get. And I catch a little minor mistake. Which shameful. Okay, who a lot of you may not even realize worked New Japan shows this year on that cursed New Beginning tour with the visa issues. So anyway, there was a minor issue with his one-loss record. I think it was like, in reality, he was like 1-3, but the stats said he was 1-4, something minor. So I bring it up in the office Slack. Like, hey, I think I found a minor error with Shane Taylor. We got to adjust his win-loss by one match. This is Craich. Forget it. We're dumping him from the book. I'll just delete him from the book. We don't need Shane Taylor. That's fine. You guys are a pain in the ass. I'll just take him out of the book. Who needs him? No one will miss him. No one will know he's not there. Rich,
all true.
Down.
All true.
It's a minor error.
But it's not, though. That's the thing. You're thinking the profile section, easy. Just delete him. It's all good.
Yeah.
He's referenced 45 other places in the book.
With the incorrect record.
Yes.
So it's like...
His total matches are wrong. His wins are wrong. Or the wins were right. The losses were wrong. His pinfall differential was wrong. His match times were wrong.
This is real nerdy. Real nerdy.
It was like, that's the thing. Is like, yes, in ideally, yeah, you say, whatever, he's in this section, he's in that section, no problem. But then there's like, yeah, like I said, he's referenced 1,000 other times that you don't even know. So like one win or loss, you're like, oh my God. And the biggest issue as well is we write way too fucking much with this book, and it becomes impossible to edit this thing. Because I use this different service that I'd never used before, and it worked pretty well, but certain sections, there were so many words that it wouldn't let me edit it. I would go to try to edit it, and I would hit like delete, and it would literally take 2 minutes to delete that letter. So the idea of having to backspace or delete the 43 Shane Taylor references in the book, I was like, fuck this. I hate this. I hate everything. Delete the whole book. Fuck it.
Oh, listen. I strive for accuracy, and I'm only noticing little mistakes. So here's what I started doing, because Rich immediately bite your head off if you spot any mistake. So instead, I go behind Rich's back to Chris Samsa, who does all the stats, and I tell him without telling Craich, and I'll be like, hey, listen, Chris, there's a mistake here with Yoshinobu Kanemaru. You're missing a winning fall. Just get in there and change it. Don't tell Craich.
No, but that's not,
just get in there and get it
works, though.
Listen, if it get it early enough in the game, it's before it gets into the, because if I tell Craich, he's going to bite my head off, and he's going to threaten to remove Yoshinobu Kanemaru from the book, and we can't have that. We got to have Yoshinobu Kanemaru in the book, because if we don't, people are going to notice that Yoshinobu Kanemaru is not in the book. You see? And Shane Taylor. What do you think people would say, hey, where's Shane Taylor? Who was the guy that was was it Tracer X or John Schuyler was missing from the stats entirely? And that gave Rich a nervous breakdown as well. I feel bad for noticing the mistakes. I think I'm just doing my job here. I'm like, I
just wish you noticed them 2 weeks ago and not this week. That's all I ask.
I don't see John Schuyler. And, it's like I get no sold. You could tell Rich is antsy. You could tell he's upset over there, pounding his keyboard, because the last thing he wants to do now is deal with John Schuyler in the one match that he had all year. But, again, we strive for accuracy. Now, I think John Skyler is in the book. He might not be. You may have not thrown him in there.
I'm not even sure. I don't know. I heard nothing about John Skyler, so I don't know if that was one where you went behind my back. But
yeah, I might have went behind you. Sam Siegel. But that's the other thing, too. I don't want to insult Chris. He works all year on these stats, and then I find these mistakes. Like that one big one I found. What tag team was that? Was it Roppongi 3K? I think it was Roppongi 3K. And their stats were way off. It was like they were missing like 3 wins. One of them because they worked Fantastica Mania as Fujin and Raijin, so that one got mixed up. And then there were 2 other ones or something.
Yeah, we had a little issue with the Fantastica Mania guys. Like at one point, like Okada had what I thought was like 1 less win or whatever, and then I fucking find out when he was like Gorilla Joe or whatever the fuck he was in Fantastica Mania, and I was like, oh god damn it, like Gorilla Joe or whatever that we got to change. And the same thing happened with Desperado. That last tag match, that one tag match or that one Fantastica Mania show where they all worked like under new gimmicks or whatever, fucked like a lot of things up randomly. So
yeah, but then I feel bad because the guy is proud of his stat work, and it's incredible work, you know. And then every time I point out an error, I feel like he thinks I'm being a dick. You know what I mean? So it's like a whole thing. And then we got to go to you after we catch the error. And then you're over there and you're biting everybody's head off. And I'm like, whoa, man, I just want Shane Taylor's profile to be as accurate as possible. Okay, sir? That's all I'm concerned with here. I don't like your attitude. You know? So it's in a whole, it's just nasty. It's very nasty. But the problem is there's really no other way. A lot of this stuff has to be done in like a week because New Japan doesn't finish their shows until like December 26th or something.
Right.
So it's like we don't have the data until the shows are done. So a lot of the stuff can't be done. I guess some of the writing could be done. What we should do next year, we say this every year.
We're not going to do whatever you're going to say we're not going to do, but go ahead. Yeah.
No. What we should do next year is write all of the shit for the guys who definitely are like gone from the company by fucking August. Because there's a lot of them, right? And get their shit written and all settled. And a lot of the work will be done at that point, right? But then you know what these fuckers will do? They'll book people for those Corkin shows in December that haven't worked since fucking June, and they'll fuck us all up anyway.
Yeah, Hukuleo will be in the freaking semi-main event or whatever. He'll be like, God damn it. Like, right. Or some old fart will get some main event slot for no apparent reason whatsoever. Like Kojima will just be main eventing against, Kota Ibushi for the title for no reason. We're like, damn it. Like,
how about how do we spell Hukuleo discussion?
That was fun. That I enjoyed. That at that point I was already kind of over it in general. I enjoyed that one a lot. I believe in the book you will find it's a fun little game. I believe you'll find at least 3 or 4 different Hukuleo pronunciations or spellings throughout the book. So yeah, you can
all correct as well. See, because the man changed the way he spelled his name 19 times. First it's like Hikuleo, then it's Hikuleo in all caps, then it's Hikuleo with the little apostrophe gimmick and then the O at the end. Right? So everybody did it their own way. And again, I didn't catch that error until there was like 12 hours till the book was supposed to be published. And I bring it up and, Rich throws another conniption fit. And I believe your response to that one was, who cares? It's going to be spelled 4 different ways and it doesn't fucking matter. We'll make it a game. Maybe people will notice, maybe they won't. I don't care anymore. And I was like, okay. All right. No correct all on this one. Just leave it.
Well,
however people
here's the issue: is the service I was using? I couldn't use the find feature anymore, so I would have had to scroll through every page and try to assume where he was. Yeah, it would have been just a complete disaster. So
you didn't want to go through 400,000 words looking for every reference of Hikuleo?
Exactly right. Because it couldn't do a find anymore. It no longer. Right. I achieved so many words in this book that the program I used just said, "Fuck you! No, we're not letting you find any more words in this thing." Like I would hit Control F and it would just never come up. It just was like no,
and it would tell you no. Yeah, it would say nah, can't do it. Too many references to Shane Taylor, and you're overloading the system. But somehow it comes together, and it goes out, and it's out there now. What is it? Is it on Amazon yet?
It is on Amazon. Yeah, it is officially on Amazon as of this recording. So you can go on there, just search up Voices Wrestling, look at Voices Wrestling New Japan Year in Review ebook. You should find that and all the other versions on Amazon through that. Also, voicewrestling.com. We have it up on the right sidebar, so you get right to the website. You should see it on the right there. Or voicewrestling.com/NJPW19 book is where we have the links as well. Our 6th edition, 6th year that we've done this one. So, really awesome stuff, though. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, it's one of these things that's like so goddamn stressful while it's happening, but when it's done and the outpouring of support that we get immediately is great as well. And we actually haven't gotten too many of the. We usually get the, like, I publish it and immediately I get like 10 people telling me, hey, this is wrong, or hey, that's wrong. There was like, 1 or 2 things that people found so far, but really a lot less than usual. So I'm pretty happy about that, and I guess that it makes the work all worth it. But if you don't know what this ebook is, you have no idea what we're talking about, you've never downloaded it before, you can download it for free. We have that option as well. We also have a name your price option as well on PayHip, and our suggested retail price is $5.99 for it. And we always say, like, regardless if you want to give $1, $2, $10, whatever you want to do, you can name your own price. You can do whatever you want. You can download it for free as well, but just keep in mind that what we do is every bit of money that we make from this book gets split amongst the contributors. And there are a lot of contributors that help out with art, with essays, with different profiles, not just Joe and I. There are a ton of other people, 25, 35, God, probably 40 people that are contributing this year's book and stuff. So what we do is with everything that we make out of the book, we split that amongst the people who contributed to the book. So that's just a thing to keep in mind. Like, yeah, you can download for free and check it out, but we really do recommend, you're going to get your money's worth. I promise you, even if you give us $1, I promise you will get your money's worth. I mean, I think we probably underpriced the hell out of this thing, but we want people to be able to read it. We want people to be able to see it. And that's one of the fun parts about it. But yeah, our suggested price is $5.99. That's what you have to pay on Amazon. You have to set a price for Amazon, so we have no choice but to do that for Amazon. But yeah, the PayHip, you can name your own price. We've had some people give us $20. We've had some people give us $50. We've had some people give us $1. We've had a hell of a lot of people just download it for free as well. But as long as you download it and as long as you read it and spread the word, that's what we really ask for. But yeah, as Joe mentioned, we got profiles, each and every wrestler that was in New Japan this year. Most of the significant tag teams and trios, that's what Joe did as well. Anybody who wrestled under 5 matches in New Japan that year as well, that's always a fun little section. It was kind of funny that the first name on there is Kenny Omega. It's amazing. The guy who entered the year as champion is in that under 5 category. It's just absolutely unbelievable there. We also have long-form essays. We had a huge essay section this year with a number of different topics. Okada's shorts, Jay White's title reign, Kenta's debut, live event experiences from United Kingdom, United States, and Japan. So people that saw shows in all 3 of those countries. The hunk rating. Who are the hottest babes in New Japan? Sarah Flannery does the hunk ranking. Did you get a chance to look at the hunk ranking and give any thoughts to the New Japan hunks?
By fake Sting Sarah?
Yes.
No, I haven't looked at it yet. I actually haven't even had time to open the book yet. I went to bed at 5 a.m. I woke up with a sore throat. I went back to bed, and I woke up about 2 hours before we slap record on this bad boy. So I haven't even looked at the damn thing yet, but I will. Yeah,
if you get a chance, that's a real fun article as well. So a lot of good essays in there as well. As you mentioned before, detailed stats, win-loss records, pinfalls, fall differentials, match times, a ton of other stuff. Chris Samsa, at the Chris Samsa on Twitter, if you want to follow him as well. Always good for those stats. He gets referenced a lot on New Japan World as well with Kevin Kelly. Uses stats all the time as well. So it's good stuff there. Championship recaps, results, history, tournament recaps, results, histories, detailed profiles on every single New Japan unit. Every review that we publish on this site in 2019. Every New Japan show review that we published on this site is in that book as well. Every single one. So it's really fun there. A new section this year as well, a list of the 25 best matches in New Japan this year. So we had the staff members all give their top 10 matches. Then John Carroll went through and put together the top 25 matches of the year. So that's a really fun section as well. The entire Liger Beat series. We have been doing that on the website for the last year. 18 different essays on Jushin Thunder Liger, all about different years in his career, year-end power rankings, and then a foreword by, and I wanted to mention this one last because I think this is worth kind of pointing out as well. The foreword this year, we had Lance Archer write it, and we've referenced Lance a lot, and I was really happy that he was able to do the foreword, and I was happy he was able to agree to it, and I kind of mentioned in my introduction as I was kind of thanking him for all he did, and it wasn't just because of the foreword. I always said this too, and I don't know if you and I talked about this before. I don't know if you read the intro at all. You said you haven't had a chance to open the book yet, but Lance was like one of the original like actual wrestlers that liked this show. You know what I mean? That liked the show, retweeted, said, "Hey, you guys know your shit. Hey, you guys are doing a good job. Keep it up." Like he probably doesn't really remember him being that first guy, because to him it's just like whatever, he just told these guys that do this dumb podcast like, hey, nice job or nice work or whatever. But we had like at that point had just kind of interviewed, you know, indie guys. There was 6 or 7 people listening at that time or whatever, and for whatever reason we caught his eye, and he always kind of gave us that thumbs up, and even those little retweets or even the little, hey, you know, great work, or hey, this is great insight on New Japan or whatever, that little stuff helped us a lot tremendously in those first few years. And I don't know if he quite knows how important he was to this site becoming what it is today, but he is tremendously important to it.
Yeah, and he was on the show once too in those early days when he didn't have to come on our dopey little show, but he did, and I thought that was a tremendous interview. And then, you know, you don't mention, you know, he reads every review, so then
You gotta be careful. You gotta be real careful.
Yeah, you bury his match, and he's in the DM saying, you know, threatening your life, you know. But yeah, but it's you're right. He was one of the first, and then, you know, years later, you come to find out through, you know, other people in the company and in the locker room that, you know, they're all reading these reviews. And, you know, one of the first places that a lot of these guys go after a New Japan show is Voice of Wrestling to check out the review, which is why I tell everyone who writes for our site, I always tell them, you know, anyone who writes anything or does any audio for the site, what's the one thing I always tell everybody, Rich? I say, assume everyone you talk about is going to read it or hear it. They won't, but a lot of them will. Just assume that they will. So if you're going to say something and have a strong opinion, by all means, go for it. But be prepared to stand behind it, because there are going to be times where you will get called out. And a lot of these people are listening and they are reading. As we've learned over the years, I think, you know, Cody's another great example. That going back to the WWE days, you know, tweeting at us from the locker room.
I know our tweets used to be like, Cody, you have to be able to do something better. Like, why are you bothering yourself with us? Like, you're in the biggest wrestling company in the world. You have a hot wife/girlfriend. You're getting a big push. Like, why do you care what you and Joe and I, these dorks who have 100 people listening to him, why do you care what we think? Like, it was so bizarre. That used to be our argument. Like, Cody, we're nothing. Stop caring about us. Like,
shouldn't you be wiping off your Stardust paint? What are you doing?
Why are you bothering with us?
So yeah, I mean, yeah, but yeah, like you said, you know, Archer going way back, and I think it was, I guess I could talk about this now because it's, you know, 6-7 years ago at this point, but I think what happened, like, you know, when he originally, we had reported on the show that Watanabe, who became Evil, who is now wrestles as Evil, was going on excursion, and we reported that he was going to be stationed in New Jersey with Sumi Sakai and working some ROH shows and working some, at the time, PWS, which became WrestlePro. Like, that was going to be his home base. And we all know that excursion ended up being just fucking dog shit. But for him, anyway, he just barely got any work. But no fault of his. I remember we reported that either on the podcast or on a tweet or something, and it was Lance Archer reached out to us, and he was like, where did you hear that? And I told him, you know, who gave us the information or whatever. And he goes, oh, because he was supposed to be staying with me. And he was having,
I remember this now, yeah.
He's supposed to be having,
he's like, I'm cleaning out my spare room for him now.
He's like, this is news to me. He's supposed to be coming to Texas.
I remember that now, yes.
And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm 100% certain on this info because, you know, obviously I know a lot of people in New Jersey and still do. You know, connected to wrestling, but we actually broke that news to him, and he thought the guy was coming on the way to his house, and for this excursion. But there was a last minute change of plans, and he ended up going to New Jersey, and yeah. So and then from then on, you know, we found out that this guy was reading all our reviews and listening to some of the shows, and you know, we had him come on the show and everything else. So. And plus, it was a good person to have right the Foreword because he really broke out this year, you know. So it was a big year for him with the big singles push.
Yeah, of course.
And so that was a good choice too. You want to try to have someone write the Foreword who was instrumental in the year. I mean, we've had Kevin Kelly before when his English commentary really became prominent in New Japan, and I think last year was Cody, you know, which was a good get because, you know, all the stuff with the Elite and everything. So. You want to try to get someone who's also, you know, had a newsworthy year. So it just fit. It was just a good fit all around to get Lance to do the Foreword. But But yeah, the book, Name Your Own Price, as always. And, like Rich mentioned, I just want to mention it again. People get paid based on how much money the thing makes. That's the deal that people are offered. So it's if you want to read it for free, go ahead. But if you could throw a couple bucks, it's especially if you've never read it before and you're not sure, go ahead and download it for free and see. And then you decide how much you think it's worth. And then go back in there and do it again and throw us a few bucks if you think it's worthy. And then because I really like to see the people who contribute and work hard on it get a nice little payday off of it. So the more we make, the more we can pay everybody. So, and the thing about the books, what is this, the fifth or sixth one now?
Sixth year.
I think it's good to go back. It's the one thing, Rich doesn't want to put the reviews because it takes up a whole bunch of space and it's a pain in the balls for him to copy and paste them all into the book. But there's such a good resource because if you have all of the, and you can get all the old books too. I should mention that too.
Yeah, we have the links are on that site. I mentioned that voiceofwrestling.com/NJPW19 book. That link, the link on the right side of the page, Amazon.com. If you just search for it, if you search for Voice of Wrestling Year in Review ebook, you will get all the other editions, and they're all the same way. You can pay on Amazon, or you can name your own price on PayHip. So you can download them all for free. You can go back, download all the old ones for free, or go back and download the 2014 book and pay $5 for it, or whatever you want to do. But yeah, they're all on there. Every single book is available anytime you want.
And now that there's so many of them, and they go back, more than half a decade, it's interesting because if you have all the books, you can say, what did Voices of Wrestling think of Tenzan's year in 2014? You can go look that up and see what we have to say. Or if you're watching an old show on New Japan World, you can say, I wonder what they thought of fucking Dominion in 2016. Well, you can go read the review for Dominion. Just open up the book and go read the review for Dominion 2000. So it's not like the books are ever outdated. They serve a purpose. They chronicle history, and you can see what we thought in that place and time about every wrestler who has stepped foot in a New Japan ring since 2000 and was it 14 or 13?
14 was the first year.
So any wrestler who has stepped inside a New Japan ring since 2014, you can go back if you have the books and see what we thought of that wrestler's year in that place and time. And it's interesting to see, because we give their outlook for the next year and everything. It's good to see where we were right, and it's good to see where we were, dead wrong on people. And it's just so the books are never even outdated. Every now and then I'll crack open an old one just to see what we wrote about whoever the fuck, AJ Styles or whoever, Carl Anderson. What were we saying about Carl Anderson in 2015? And it's just interesting to go back, and it's a good chronicling of history as well.
So again, as we mentioned, one last poll, voicewrestling.com. You could go to the right-hand bar, and you'll be able to get it from there. Also, voicewrestling.com/NJPW19 book is how you download it. And really great stuff there, and I'm glad it's out. And the thing we always like about it too, and as you said, is we get some people that say, okay, I got 2 days till Wrestle Kingdom, I'm gonna read it all, and it's like that's not really what it's intended to do. I mean, you can do that if you want, but it's more a reference, more of a guide, like something that you kind of have next to you at all times. And if you're watching a match, or I always say, like, I think the best opportunity for that book too is while you're watching Wrestle Kingdom, you can kind of go as a guy's coming down and entering the ring and go, okay, let me see what his year's been, or what these guys think he's going to do the next year, or whatever. Like that's where I think the most fun comes in is watching the shows or watching the stuff and seeing then what we thought of their last year and where they're going and whatnot. So I think that's the more fun aspect of it. But yeah, it's really evergreen. I mean, it's about 2019, but a lot of the stuff we're talking about is going to be relevant for months and months after that too. So
yeah.
All right, so that is it for the book. Go there, download it, share it, let people know. Make sure you pay as well, so we can pay our contributors too for that. So voicewrestling.com for all the details on that. So Joe,
another fun game is when Rich will say, because we see the email addresses of the people who buy the book. So every now and then,
we see you. You're listening. We see you.
It'll be someone's like booking email address, So Rich will be like, "Oh, so and so just bought the book. Who wrote his profile?"
I gotta make sure. I gotta do pre-damage control. Like, all right, blank just downloaded the book. All right, who wrote about him? What'd you say?
What'd you say? And then if the person's like, "Oh, I fucking buried him," Rich is like, "Oh Christ," now this, this is a really bad look. But that happens pretty often. I mean, over the years. I mean, just today there was a couple, right?
Yeah, there was a couple. There's one that I don't.
Roster members.
Yeah, the one I'll shout out, which I don't think it's actually this guy, but every single year we get a man whose email address is routenboss@yahoo.com, and I just want to know if that's Boss Rutten or not.
Oh, listen, here's the thing. Mauro Ranallo has bought the book.
Correct.
Multiple times. Because he has told us he has bought the book multiple times. And they're best friends. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that it's actually Bas Rutten buying the book. I'll say that. Do I know for a fact that Rutten Bas letters and numbers is actually Bas Rutten? No, I don't. But it's plausible because it's plausible that the book would be on his radar. He's a pro wrestling fan. Mm-hmm. He has done worked matches before. He's best friends with a guy who has bought the book. And is it plausible that Mauro has said, hey, there's this awesome thing that comes out every year, and I know you sit there and watch your New Japan World. Check it out. I mean, that's not possible.
No, that's
right?
what I mean. That's the cool thing about it is if it was like, Dwayne Johnson at gmail.com, I'd be like, there's no fucking way the Rock's downloading this shit. But I could definitely buy Bas Rutten being like, fuck it. Yeah, I'll download this, see what these guys have to say. So, yeah. See, it's one of those. It's perfect. Because, if it was Cena John 1 at like Gmail, I'd be like, okay, that's not fucking John Cena. No chance in hell it is. But yeah, it does kind of work a little bit better when it's someone like Bas Rutten. So I have no idea if that's, if you're listening, hi, Boss.
Do you think AEW Cleaner 6969 will appreciate the profile I wrote for him this year?
I'm sure he does not appreciate the Kota Ibushi profile that John wrote. So it was not a good book for Kenny Omega this year. He took some lumps this year for sure.
I don't think I buried him. I was just...
You're just like, hey, he's not around anymore, so that's it. Yeah, it's I don't know. I know he's read the site. He knows we exist, so I don't know if he's ever bought the problem with Kenny and like some of these guys, like you said, they're booking email addresses. It's x-y at gmail. It's like, all right, it's clearly that guy. Like that's that's what he uses to get bookings or whatever. Kenny's just got the dumbest fucking email address in the world, right?
I thought it was AEW Cleaner 69XXX.
Yeah, no,
I wasn't joking. I saw that one come across and I figured out, I got this, Cleaner. I would have gave you the book for free. You didn't have to. I hope he paid us.
I don't think he did. I don't think, I'm looking right now. Bas Rutten did not pay us either. So, times are tough, I guess. That's fine.
I think you should fight him.
I should. That's a great idea.
You should fight Bas Rutten.
God.
Watch out for the liver kick. Just watch out.
Okay, all right. Thank you for the tip. Yeah, that'll certainly help me in my fight against Bas Rutten. But anyway, that's it for the book here. So, Joe, as you said, this is one of our biggest shows of the year each year. It is the Wrestle Kingdom 14 preview. You're under the weather, but you could not miss this one. We were tired. We all went to bed at 4. You went to bed at 4. I woke up at 4, but you can't miss the Wrestle Kingdom 14 preview show. It is the one time a year, one of our biggest shows of the year. And that's the thing, too. People think the review would be... The preview, for whatever reason, is always really huge. I think people really get excited about listening to what we think, what we're predicting, what we're guessing, our excitement levels. And the same thing happens with the review. That's not to say the review doesn't do well either, but the previews almost always do great, because I think it's interesting in that sense. I think it's... Maybe we're more excited about the preview. I don't know what it is exactly, but the preview always does better. It's always one of our biggest shows every single year.
Yeah. The preview and the review are usually two of our most downloaded shows of the year, for sure. Yeah, no doubt about it.
All right, before we get to our Wrestle Kingdom 14 preview, Joe, I do want to let you know that this episode of the Voice Wrestling Flagship Podcast is sponsored by our friends at Grapple. That's Grappl. You can download on the App Store or Google Play. If you do not know what Grapple is, you're a brand new listener to Voice Wrestling, you haven't heard the reads before, it is an app where you can go and you can download it and rate wrestling matches. It's a really, really great resource for finding out what matches are rated really highly. It's a great resource for, using while you're watching a wrestling show and seeing what the consensus is, what people are kind of rating matches or whatnot. It's great for going back and watching stuff and seeing what people liked. If you're a few days late on a show, it's great to say, hey, what's worth watching, what's worth skipping. And it's also great at the end of the year as well. We talked about that a few weeks ago. You can filter out the list, look at the best matches of 2019 in a particular promotion. You can look at the best matches of all time in a particular promotion. You can look at your best matches, the matches that you rated the highest. There's so much you can do with Grapple. It's a great, great resource. Grappl, again, App Store and Google Play. And the reason why we're doing it on this show, usually we do it for a review when we talk about, hey, Joe, the Grapple users gave this a 3.5, and we gave it a 4. Like, that's how we usually do it. This time, though, they did want to let us do it on this show, the preview show, because they wanted to let us know that they are updating Wrestle Kingdom matches live on the app as the show is happening. So you can grab your phone, download Grapple, Grappl, and as Wrestle Kingdom is happening both nights, you'll be able to rate and give your ratings for the matches and see what other people are rating the matches. See what, if you're the consensus, see if you're with the consensus, you're against the consensus, whatever's going on. You can see if, the match that you thought was 5-star, everybody else thought was 5-star. It's a really, really great way to kind of, jump into Grapple. And this is a great week to do it as well. During Wrestle Kingdom, matches will be updated live as they're happening. So you're watching, Kota Ibushi versus Okada, and you want to give a rating for it, you're going to be able to do that in real time on Grapple. Download it right now, App Store or Google Play. And yeah, there are 20 promotions on there right now, not just New Japan, not just WWE, not just the major stuff, 20 promotions on there right now, and adding many more at the start of 2020. So the more people download, the more people use it, the more people give ratings, the more incentive they have to add different promotions, add different shows, make sure that they have everything and be a complete app all the way through. So yeah, we love Grapple. We're happy to be, sponsoring them, or we're happy that they've sponsored the show for the last year, and we're happy to kind of talk about them as well. But Joe, you brought up a really good point this week about Grapple, which I thought was interesting as we kind of bleed into our Wrestle Kingdom preview here a little bit, is that over the last year, and I noticed it in the ebook as well, there are quite a few articles in the ebook and quite a few essays in the ebook that mention Grapple ratings. And you had a tweet earlier this week where you said that it's kind of interesting how in the last year Grapple, and in no small part because of us, we obviously help, we drive the big users, the big downloads, all that sort of stuff. But no, I mean, they do a tremendous job with that app. But stuff like us, people mentioning it, people using it, it has now kind of joined the lexicon of pro wrestling ratings. Like, you hear people talk about Dave Meltzer's ratings. You hear people talk about Cage Match ratings. Well, last year, people care about Grapple ratings. People talk about Grapple ratings a lot. Matches are judged by Grapple ratings. Wrestlers are judged by Grapple ratings. As we said, a few essays in the New Japan ebook were about Grapple ratings as well. So it's kind of interesting that it has grown to prominence so much in just one short year.
Yeah, the more historical references we have for stuff to cross-reference with each other, the better, in my view. So it's good to see that Grapple is caught on. And, you can cross-reference Grapple with Dave Meltzer's ratings, or the ratings you see on Cage Match, or the ratings that we do on Voices of Wrestling, or wherever else you see match ratings. And it's always good to have multiple sources to cross-reference when it comes to those things. And I'm a big, like we talked about with the book, I'm a big proponent of chronicling history, especially in wrestling, where it's only a recent development that people have cared about the history of wrestling and things like this. And a resource like Grapple to me is very important. And I think it's the more people that download it and use it and enter their ratings, the better. You want it to be you want these ratings to represent as large of a pool of people as possible. So that's why we're a big fan of it, and we're thrilled that they choose to sponsor us, because it's definitely a product that we absolutely believe in. There have been things that have sponsored this show that you guys could tell when our tongue is planted firmly in cheek with certain products, but Grapple's one that, we absolutely do use on a day in, day out basis and believe in, and it's an excellent app.
Yeah, it's been great for Wrestle Kingdom, and they did want to make a note as well. They've done some recent updates as well. So if there are people that have maybe previously downloaded Grapple, you downloaded it, at the beginning of last year, you downloaded it the first time that we talked about it and said, I don't really like this app, or this crashed on me, or this didn't quite work. Make sure, they said, download the app again. Make sure you have the latest version. Make sure you have the updates, because a lot of things that were maybe wrong at the beginning as they're kind of beta testing and figuring it out have all been fixed and all been changed. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, I haven't had a single issue with the app in the last 6 months. Of using it, even though there were little hiccups at the beginning, things would crash, things wouldn't quite work, but yeah, it runs flawlessly for me now, and it's a great resource, and I'll have it open all through Wrestle Kingdom as well, so I'll be giving my ratings in there as well. And the good thing too, you can follow people as well, so you can follow Joe and I, see what we're rating in real time as well on Grapple. So a lot of really good stuff you can do there. GRAPPL, as I said, on the App Store or Google Play. All right, Joe, are you ready?
What do you think was the shittiest sponsor that we had over the years?
Okay.
The one that we were interested in the least.
I have that answer for you right away. I forget what it was called. It was the business travel bundle thing. What the hell was that thing called? One sec. So it was like, it was like, hey, if you buy business class airline tickets through this site, you'll get a discount. And I was like, and
I'm like, buddy, who do you think is?
I don't know if that audience, give us dick pills, give us ball razors, give us food, give us Dollar Shave Club. That shit our users are going to use. Bundling business class hotels and plane tickets together. I don't know, buddy. I don't think it's going to work too well.
Shocking they never came back. I don't think they got a lot of I don't think the VOW code got used a ton on that one.
And what was that thing called? I don't even remember.
I don't remember either. How about Bloom That? Bloom That was a pretty shitty one with the flowers.
The flowers. Hey, I was glad they gave us a great bouquet of flowers here, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how many people used that one, but no, you know that the bullshit.
Yeah, well,
no, because they did it around Mother's Day. We sold a lot of those fucking flowers. Never mind. They should have came back. They didn't come back to us.
They came back once. I think they did. I think we read an ad on Valentine's Day, and then they bought for another holiday. So it must have worked. People must have bought the Bloom That, but that didn't really fit the. Well, I guess that does fit. You figure the majority of the listeners are male, right? I mean,
yeah, and they're lazy gift givers as well. So like, here, honey, here's flowers. You know, like,
right.
Here's a bouquet. So I thought of you for 15 seconds and bought these. Here you go. Like,
and these sponsors, they all send us free shit. So it's like we were getting flowers. Remember, they would send us like bouquets of flowers in the fucking mail. And then I was single at the time, and I remember they would send like a dozen roses to me or whatever, and I would break them up and give them to like different girls that I was seeing at the time. Like, I got you these 2 roses, right?
Honey, because then I would of you. Yeah, here you go. Yeah,
right. But then I'd have another girl come over later and be like, I got these 3 roses for you, you know, and I would take those bouquets and I would make like, here comes TLB listening to this story. It's true.
What did she get? 1 rose or 2 roses?
What's that? What do you mean? I always get you flowers. Listen, it has not been a while, but a month ago I got you flowers.
Someone's buying flowers tomorrow.
What's that? I don't know the names of flowers. What do I look like? A botanist? Yeah, I don't remember what color they were, but you admit that I got you flowers.
I believe they're florists, Joe, not botanists, but that's all right.
It was about a month ago, right? About a month ago. That's not a big gap. I mean, and they were for nothing. They weren't even for an occasion. I just got them because I love you. So I should get some credit for that, I think. I don't think I should. You're coming down these stairs burying me here, but, you know, I did a nice job with the flowers. But anyway, that's what I used to do with the Bloom That flowers. I used to break up the bouquets and give them to various girls that I had coming over here. So that was the plan there. Rich, change the subject, Rich.
I will. Yeah, well, absolutely, because, you're getting in trouble here. You're getting buried. Wrestle Kingdom 14, Joe. 2 nights, January 4th, January 5th, before we start going match by match, kind of breaking down everything as it comes. Overall kind of thoughts, excitement level getting into the show. You know, it's 2 days away at the time of this recording. Are you excited for the 2 nights? Is the 2 nights overwhelming to you? You know, what are your overall thoughts before we kind of start breaking this down match by match?
Yeah, I'm ready for it. I just want to I'm ready for the shows to happen. I mean, I couldn't get into those Corkin shows last week for whatever reason because I want to get on with it, and I want Wrestle Kingdom to happen, and I want to see where we're going moving forward in 2020 and the new directions and New Year Dash coming up after that. I mean, this is like if you throw in All Japan and, you know, I guess Noah, but those shows aren't going to air for a while. This is like 5 straight days of wrestling. I mean, I know there's an All Japan show on right now as we record this. There was an All Japan show last night that I watched. Then we'll have the 2 Wrestle Kingdoms, New Year Dash. It's crazy. So I'm just ready for the shows to happen.
Absolutely. All right, so let's get it started here with night 1, and Joe, historic moment here in the dark match. So some people, I guess I'll get your thoughts on that, but there's a dark match here, a Stardom special match. What do you think about Stardom getting on the card, New Japan finally having women, quote unquote, whatever you want to say about that? But it's a dark match. Do you have any issues with this match being on the show? Do you have any issues with it being a dark match? What do you think about everything that's kind of going around this Stardom special match that we have here?
No, I mean, I don't care either way. My stance remains the same as it always has when people were arguing about that nonsense over the last couple of years. I couldn't possibly care less if there's Stardom matches or women's matches on New Japan shows moving forward. That's fine with me. And I couldn't possibly care less if there was never another women's match on a New Japan show moving forward. That would be fine with me too. It does not matter to me. Just give me good wrestling, give me good stories, give me good action, and the rest I don't care if it's men or women. So no one's going to see this though. This is a legitimate dark match.
Yeah, are we gonna get fan cams or what are we gonna get of this thing? I don't know. Yeah, because there's we should state that there's dark matches and then there's pre-show. We're gonna talk about the next 2 pre-show matches that'll be going on while people are entering the building, while people are kind of getting ready or whatever. That Stardom special match is a straight up dark match. So who knows? I don't know if anybody will film it. I don't know if it's just there for the live. I don't know what is going on with this thing. It'll be interesting to see what if it emerges or what happens afterwards too. So.
Well, it's because of Stardom and New Japan's various television deals and whatnot. So there's a lot of legalities there involved, but they do have. Now, this is not the first time there's been women's matches on New Japan shows. I think some newer fans may not realize that. So this is not like some, groundbreaking first time ever sort of deal either. There's been women's matches. There's been offer matches on New Japan shows in the past, not recently in this era. I think the last time women wrestled on a New Japan show would probably be when Maria Kanellis and Amber Gallows were in a mixed tag, probably 2015, something like that.
Right. Yeah.
And that was a mixed tag. And then before that, of course, China.
China had a singles match.
Had a terrible run in New Japan. And there have been offer matches and whatnot. But I'm sure we'll see more of this moving forward with them being under the same ownership umbrella. I mean, do I think at some point there'll be full integration? I mean, it's pro wrestling. You never say never. But I don't think it's anything that's close or on the immediate horizon. But there's really no way to see this match unless you're in the building. At least that's the last I heard because of the the different contracts and whatnot. But it's Arisa Hoshika and Mayu Iwatani against Hana Kimura and Julia. Now, this is kind of controversial because this is the girl who, if you remember, Rich, made that controversial jump to Stardom right before the Bushiroad deal was announced. And a lot of Joshi fans were upset about that. And listen, I don't know enough about it to have an opinion either way. I just don't care. And I'm not qualified to comment on whether that was some kind of dirty business or whatnot. But what happened now is she ended up in this offer match, and a lot of the Stardom veterans were publicly upset that this newcomer was given this big opportunity to work a Tokyo Dome match at Wrestle Kingdom while they're sitting this one out. So there's a little bit of controversy here with this match too. But it's I'm sure it's something we'll see a little bit more of moving forward. If you're hoping for full integration, that's not something I would be counting on, at least in the near future.
Absolutely. All right, let us get to the pre-show matches here. 2 pre-show matches on night 1. This is January 4th, of course, night 1. Wrestle Kingdom, our first pre-show matches. Great Bash Heel, still keeping it up. Tomoaki Hanma and Togi Makabe, Yua Uemura and Yota Tsuji versus Toa Hinari, Alex Coughlin, Clark Connors, and Carl Fredericks. So young lions and some old guys. So yeah, I mean, that'd be fun. Fun little offer match here. Not going to be very long, and it is unfortunate. We'll talk about it on night 2. No New Japan Rumble this year as well. So instead, we've been replaced with just random tag matches, and then we're going to talk about it a little bit later on night 2, the Gauntlet tag match. So no New Japan Rumble, but you get your young lions mixing it up with some of the old farts too. So
yeah, I mean, the LA Dojo guys, the 3 prominent ones anyway, Coughlin, Connors, and Fredericks, they worked hard all year. They worked more tours than people think. They helped out at that New Beginning disaster in the U.S. They worked all the U.S. shots. They obviously came and worked some tours in Japan, so they'll team with Hinari. And then you've got the Great Bash Heel guys to shoehorn Hanma onto things because Makabe, I think, does work the next night. And then Tsuji and Uemura. So, yeah, just a standard New Japan undercard 8-man tag and a good opportunity. Look, sometimes it takes years and years for non-Young Lions to get onto a Wrestle Kingdom show, and even though this is a dark match, this is a good spot for the LA Dojo guys and the other 2 Lions here, getting an opportunity to work on Wrestle Kingdom.
Absolutely. And one thing you'll know if you do download the New Japan ebook is just how good of a year Carl Fredericks had, and how if it's not obvious that they think this guy's a fucking star, go look at those numbers. Go look at those stats. And that's what's awesome about our book is that we look at the fall numbers. We look at the wins over guys. We really dive in deep. And when you look at it, it's like he is leaps and bounds, head and shoulders above any of his other contemporaries, any other young lion. He's got wins over legit roster members, which never happens. Like that guy, when you see him and you say, hey, wow, that guy looks like he's a fucking star, they see the same thing. They know that guy's a goddamn star in the making. So
he has absolutely been booked like a future star. They are doing things with Carl Fredericks that they do not do with other young lions, especially at his stage. He obviously won the Young Lion Cup. That's a big indicator there. But Rich, his team in the World Tag League, he teamed with Goto, and they had 6 points. They won 3 matches, and none of them were over, he was the only young lion in a tournament. That's the first time in ages that a young lion has scored points in a New Japan tournament that, where the points weren't scored over other young lions. You understand what I'm saying? Like his team scored 6 points over veteran wrestlers. That's unheard of. It's ridiculous. And it wasn't just 1 win. They had 3 wins. 3 wins over veteran teams in the World Tag League. That's crazy. I don't think people understand the magnitude of that. And like you said, that's the kind of stuff we really dig into in the book. But it's very obvious that, just by the way that they book Carl Fredericks and, that they see. I would not be stunned.
I'm saying he's taking it. He's winning. He's pinning Uemura or Tsuji or one of those guys for sure.
If his side wins, it will be him. I'd be shocked if Togi Makabe is not dropping that knee on Clark Connors.
I guess you're right. Although he doesn't care. Like, whatever. He probably doesn't give a shit.
But, the point here is what everybody else sees in Fredericks. I mean, he's like 6'4". He's built like a brick shit house. He's a good looking guy.
He's annoyingly handsome. Yeah.
Annoyingly handsome. Tremendous hair. Obviously a great athlete. And a really good worker. And they see it too. And you can see it in the booking.
All right, so next pre-show match before we get to the actual business end of the card here is Tenkoji. It's Tenzan and Kojima versus Nagata and Nakanishi. So this was a match at the World Tag League or whatever. I mean, it's a good spot to have these guys. I'm glad these guys got on the card. Kind of stinks as the pre-show, but given the bodies of both Tenzan and Nakanishi, it's probably the better spot for them. You don't really want these guys on the major show anymore, which kind of stinks for Kojima and Nagata, who can still kind of go a little bit. But yeah, their respective partners are just absolutely I don't ever want to like force guys out, but like Tenzan and Nakanishi should probably just hang the boots up. It's bad.
I compared Nakanishi in the book to late stage Mae Young.
It was like 94 or something.
I'm not even like trying.
No,
to
you're right.
Like,
yeah,
he cannot move. It looks at this point when Nakanishi moves around the ring, it looks like he's in physical pain. And I'm not trying to be funny or facetious at all. I really think. Now, look, he knows his body better than anyone. It looks horrible, though. You cannot suspend disbelief for this guy anymore. That's how bad he is. And, just a year ago, he's out there every now and then he would have one of these Renaissance performances where he would just look like he was 20 years younger. But this year that didn't happen. He just looks awful. And Tenzan, of course, he's got that issue with his ankle where it's at like a 90-degree angle. And he's not moving around real good anymore either. I mean, he's not nearly at the Nakanishi stage, but he's getting there. And again, I don't want to make this a 3-hour plug for the book, but if you read our book, you can see how the booking of Tenzan has changed this year. They've really done things with him where, he's sort of been put in some situations that he's never been in before, booking wise. He lost a match to Ayato Yoshida and Shota Umino before Yoshida went back to his home promotion. They beat Tenzan and one of the young lions. I can't remember which one it was. Rich, again, that's unheard of for a veteran wrestler to lose a tag team match to 2 young lions, even when they team with another young lion. It's usually the veteran wrestler scoring the fall. So again, you see things in the booking where even they recognize that the end is perilously close for Tenzan. Now, an interesting thing, if you go back and read the older books, Tenkoji usually dominates.
Oh, they were so protected. Yeah, they wouldn't get title shots, but they never lost. It was this weird thing where like we uncovered it every single year that like these assholes should always be the tag champions because they never lose. They just never got tag title shots for the same reason. It was very bizarre.
Well, and they would dominate this Blue Justice team. They would always beat Nagata and Nakanishi. And in the final night of the World Tag League, Nagata and Nakanishi got them. So if you're looking for anything to sink your teeth into with a match other than nostalgia with this is a rematch from the World Tag League with Tenkoji looking for some revenge against Blue Justice. They've wrestled Nagata and Nakanishi 1 billion times, and they usually win, but they lost the last one. So as someone who's a huge, Kojima fan, and I follow Tenkoji very closely, that's what I'll be looking for here if they get their win back from the World Tag League. How about that, Rich? I gave people a reason to pay attention to the booking of this fucking dope match.
We both pre-show matches. We said watch out for Carl Fredericks. Maybe he gets the upset win, and then look for the revenge game for Tenkochi against Nagata and Nakanishi. There you go. It's perfect there.
That's why you listen for 3 hours.
Right. We haven't even gotten to the actual show yet. This is why you're getting the popcorn ready while people are walking in. All the lights are on in the arena, and we've already given you a ton to sink your teeth into.
Give you a little something here. These matches aren't throwaway. Everything matters. Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Actual show now. Business end of the card. We start out with the second to last match of Jushin Thunder Liger's career. It is Liger teaming with Tatsumi Fujinami, Great Sasuke, and Tiger Mask versus Sano, Otani, Takiyawa, and Ryusuke Taguchi as well. So this is a collection of friends, foes, partners, just kind of everyone, all the buddies getting together and having a fight. So it's pretty awesome, man. I can't wait to see Fujinami in there. I hope Great Sasuke brings his barrel. He probably won't, but I'm actually, so that the Liger Fujinami Sasuke Tiger Mask team is a lot of fun, but I like just the Otani, Sano, and Takiyawa with Taguchi as well. I wonder if Taguchi's a little more serious in this moment as well, because those guys aren't going to really be down for fucking around and playing with your butt. So I don't know.
No. I mean, look, it's not going to be any kind of work rate classic. I don't know how much time it's going to get. They'll all try hard. We should mention that Norio Hanaga is the referee, and El Samurai will be in the Jushin Liger corner, and Kuniaki Kobayashi will be in the Naoki Sano corner. And, of course, if you're a newer fan, Naoki Sano and Jushin Thunder Liger were rivals how long ago now? 20, 25 years ago, I guess. Maybe longer. And that's why Sano was brought back for the show along with all of other Liger's old pals. So, yeah, I mean, this is just – it's Liger's retirement. If this is what he wanted, then this is what he should get. And this is thick with nostalgia. You know, I don't quite know – the Taguchi connection or how he got in here. I don't know if one of these guys trained Taguchi or something. I'm not familiar with how Taguchi sort of. I know why everyone else is involved. I understand the historical connection to everybody else here except for Taguchi. So maybe there's a listener that knows better, or I can research that. But Taguchi sneaking his way into the match. But match number 1 of the 2 Jushin Thunder Liger retirement bouts.
So it looks like, I guess Taguchi was trained by El Samurai, had a part in his training, so maybe that's it, or they just needed, he was just a dude that they just had or something. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and as far as, we'll get into it a little bit more when we talk about night 2 as well with Jushin Thunder Liger and how he's kind of ending his career. But it's in one breath, it's kind of disappointing that he's not in sort of like a big time match or a big time singles match or whatever. But like knowing Liger, this is exactly what Liger wants. He's going to be on the opener both nights, and both these nights are going to be less about maybe him. Even though he doesn't, he will that he can't avoid it on the 6th. The 6th will be all about him. But I think on these nights he wants it to be about his buddies. He wants it to be about his old rivals, the guys coming back. And then on night 2, we'll talk about it in a bit, is all about the next generation, the new juniors to take over the company or whatever. And that's kind of what that guy's been for the last 10, 15 years now, is like all about building the next generation, building the next great junior division in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So in one breath, it's like disappointing that we didn't get like Tanahashi versus Liger or whatever, but knowing that this is probably what he wanted. He probably just wants to be with his buddies, have a fun little tag match, and then the next night have a match with his former rivals against 2 other rivals and pass the torch or whatever. That's probably exactly what Jushin Thunder Liger wants out of this, and would probably hate the idea of him being in like a special singles match, featured on the card or whatever. So,
yeah, the Sano Liger feud, I guess, was 89. So that'd be what, 30. Is that 31 years ago?
Yeah, right around there, man. Yeah, Jesus.
My God, we're all going to be dead soon. It's ridiculous.
I was born in 1987. That makes you feel any better. So I was 2 when these guys were chopping it up there. Oh, dear God. All right, let's move on to the next match here. It is Evil, Sonata, Shingo, and Bushi versus the Suzuki-gun team of Minoru Suzuki, Taichi, Zack Sabre Jr., and El Desperado. We talked about this a few weeks back. Pretty disappointing that this is it for Shingo. Pretty disappointing there. But yeah, other thoughts on the LIJ versus Suzuki Gun, just kind of random 8-man tag match here.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts remain the same as the first time that we briefly previewed it. I really don't think these 8-man tags have a place on a Wrestle Kingdom show, even if you're doing 2 of them. And unless there's a big angle that takes place in these matches, then I will continue to complain about them. And I'll eat my words if they do some angles. That's fine. If they break up Suzuki Gun or do something with Shingo or whatever. set something else up, then that's fine. But if these are just 8-minute matches that you would see on a house show or on fucking, Destruction and Bipu or whatever the hell, then this has no place at Wrestle Kingdom. And you got to do better than this, in my opinion. But we'll see. We've been hearing some things. We think that, well, we weren't given any names, but, they might be, debuting some new wrestlers on one of these two shows. And we heard they may be doing some major angles. So maybe some of that will come out of these two 8-man tags.
And I guess we'll just real quickly go over the next 8-man tag. You got the Chaos Team, Goto, Ishii, Yano, and Yoshihashi versus the Bullet Club for team Bad Luck Fale, Chase Owens, Kenta, and Yujiro Takahashi. So again, not much there, but yeah, you hope that there's at least some angles going on, something going on. We talked about, there have been some kind of rumblings or rumors that maybe Taichi, ascends to the top of Suzuki-gun. That'd be a pretty cool thing as well to see. Something happens with LIJ. Like, there's a lot of stuff that can happen angle-wise that happens, but like you said, until we see that, we have to call it like we see it, and those are kind of shitty matches to have on a Wrestle Kingdom show. So
yeah, this is just Tomo hitting a buster on Chase after 9 minutes, and then Goto and Kenta going nose to nose, to heat up their match the next night. That's not a Wrestle Kingdom worthy match. Wrestle Kingdom should be different and should be treated as such. So, that's why I'm not happy with any of this. I should mention that this will be Chase Owens' debut on Wrestle Kingdom proper. He was in the Rambo in 2018, 2 years ago, and last year he cornered the Bullet Club trio in the pre-show Never Gauntlet. Remember, it was Marty Scurll, Yujiro, and Hangman Page.
Yes,
and they lost the first leg of the Gauntlet, and then Chase Owens and Yujiro turned on Scurll and Page and kicked them out of the Bullet Club. People don't know that or remember it because it was on the pre-show and the camera didn't really focus on it. But that was how Marty Scurll and Hangman Page were kicked out of the Bullet Club in New Japan canon. Because remember, they were done with the company. Page was at least. And Scurll came back later in the year as part of Villain Enterprise. But that's how they wrote those two guys out of Bullet Club in that Gauntlet match last year, where Chase Owens and Yujiro turned on them after they got eliminated. Because I think either Scurll or Page took the fall, and then Owens and Yujiro got in their face, and then they kicked them out of Bullet Club. So, other than that, though, this is Chase Owens' first appearance on the show proper. No dark match, no corner in anybody. So good for him. Good for him. It's been his first New Japan match was 2014, coming in with Bruce Tharp, And I wrote about him extensively in the book and his slow climb up the ladder. He's just a grinder. He does his job. He does what's asked of him. He does it well. And, now you look, slow progression. He gets in the Rambo a couple years ago. This year he worked a full schedule. He worked 117 matches. He's essentially a full-timer now, and now he's got a spot on Wrestle Kingdom. So it's a nice little story for a guy who came into the company as just one of those NWA guys, and he's the last one left. You don't see Rob Conway or Jack Stain or Bruce Tharp
Big
around
Daddy
anymore.
Yum Yum, he's gone.
Yeah, all those guys. So it's good for him, and he's got a viable role as just an undercard guy, and he's not even just strictly pin eater anymore. I mean, this is a guy who scores some wins now. I mean, again, go look at the books and look at the progression of his record and stuff. So I just wanted to point that out, that it's good to see Chase Owens get on the Wrestle Kingdom show.
All right, so next up we have IWGP Tag Team title match here, Guerrillas of Destiny versus FinJuice, the winners of the World Tag League there, Juice Robinson and David Finlay, of course. So the interesting story about this is that Juice Robinson has a match the next night for the IWGP United States Championship, which to me kind of lets you know that, I really doubt that Juice Robinson's walking out of here as double champion. Wrestle Kingdom. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he does, but that sort of lets me know that Girls of Destiny are probably winning this match again.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's weird. If he wins here, then, is it completely out of the question that he comes out of it with 2 titles? No. But it's not something they typically would do. We've seen people hold the tag team titles and the Never Trios titles. We've seen that. It's not completely unheard of to have two belts at once, but I don't think we've seen anyone hold. When's the last time we've seen someone hold the tag team titles and a major singles title? Off the top of my head, I can't think of that scenario in this era. So yeah, I don't know. It's we're going to talk about it next, I guess, but I don't like this miniature tournament they're doing for the Never title. I think it just doesn't make sense booking wise. I don't understand why Juice Robinson only has to win one match and the other two guys have to win two. And it bothers me. If it were WWE, I wouldn't care because nothing there. It's just, you don't expect things to make sense, but you kind of have an expectation in New Japan that things will at least make some kind of sense. And I don't get why Juice Robinson has that huge advantage over the other two guys. Not only does he only have to win one match, he doesn't have to have a Texas death match. These two guys have to go through this grueling match, right? Where they have to basically kill the other guy. And then they have to win another match the next night to come away with it with the title. It's just all very weird to me.
Yeah, it lacks a lot of logic in that sense. But I also mentioned too, and this is why I'm kind of like perplexed. And I guess in some way I'm kind of, it's good that I have no real, thought about this or no real kind of good guess on who's going to win the tag titles, because if you go back and look at the history as well, and you can probably tell from the top of your head as well, like those tag titles change all the time in Wrestle Kingdom. 2014 they changed, 2012 they changed, 2015 they changed, 2016 they changed, 2017 they changed, 2018 they changed, and 2019 they changed at Wrestle Kingdom. So these titles have, for every year since 2014 did I just say, have changed hands at Wrestle Kingdom. Does that break? Does that end this year? I don't know. And it seems like if Juice did not have that match on night 2, I would say 100% Finn Juice is winning those titles. It's a great way to kind of cap off the story. The return of David Finlay, Juice Robinson, his up and down year, he kind of caps it off with a big win. They win the tag titles, a brand new team at top. The Girls of Destiny, their long reign is over. They keep the tradition of, tag titles switching at Wrestle Kingdom. There's a lot that works there, but then you look at that US thing and you're like, I don't know though. Like, what did they do here? So, I'm shy. I don't know. I'm really, this is kind of a toss up for me. I'm not sure who wins this match, and I could buy into both scenarios, but yeah, given that they've changed these titles every year since 2014, I'd be hard pressed to guess that no, they're not going to change. But it's just the Robinson winning both titles just doesn't make sense to me. Yeah,
you know who I hope doesn't read the book? Tonga, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa.
I know.
Did you read my Gorilla?
I did, yeah. They've had the longest, most insignificant title reign you've ever seen. Yeah, it's
okay,
great.
No, don't even say. Listen. Use that as a teaser.
Yeah.
Okay. So I hope they don't read it, but I hope everyone listening buys the book and does read it, and to see why I hope that they do not read it. But
they know.
But yeah,
you know what I mean? They know they suck. They have no. I think, I don't know.
Did you? Okay, we're not gonna reveal it because it's just a rumor. But did you see the rumor that came through our DMs from a pretty reliable source of who might be popping up on this show? Did you?
I don't think I did. I don't think I did. Hold on a minute. Let's do some scrolling.
Yeah,
how recent? How recent? This isn't very fun for the listeners, but how recent is this?
No,
I don't know if I've.
No, well, it was a long conversation I had with an industry person inside the industry who
say no more. I think I know.
Yeah, it was New Japan adjacent, and he did identify it as strictly a rumor. But my God, if it ever happened, man, I want to be on Twitter for that one. Let me see if I can find it for you. See. This is good for the listener because we might slip, but I'm definitely not saying this on the air because I don't want to. This would be everywhere if I said it on the air, and I don't want it to be everywhere.
Where are you sending it so I can? I don't remember this one now. So
I'll just text you then. Okay. I'm just going to text you. I'm going to text Rich on the air, and you guys will hear his reaction to.
Yeah, I don't know if I remember this one. I remember the guy, but I'm looking at the conversation. I don't see it. So
you got your phone on you?
I do. Yeah, right here.
Okay.
This is unbelievable. This is why you listen to the Wrestle Kingdom preview, boys.
My phone won't even let me type the name. It keeps autocorrecting into something else, and you'll see why in a second. Here. Yeah, tell me when you get that text. Tell me when you get that bad boy.
Right. Yeah.
What would the reaction to that be?
Oh my god. The reaction would be my phone is turned off for 2 days, a week. Yeah.
You remember that being sent to us? Or
I
no?
do now. Yeah, I do now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be something else, huh?
That's one way to describe it, I guess.
It would make sense. It would make I gotta be honest, make a little bit of sense for I don't know, we should say no more, right?
Yeah, we probably should, yeah.
I don't want people piecing it together. So let's move on, Rich. What's the next
Lance Archer, John Moxley. How you doing? There we go. Texas Deathmatch, IWGP United States Championship.
Yeah. So how do you think a walk-in brawl plunder is going to play out in the Dome?
Yeah, that's my concern. That's why, like, you know, many weeks ago, I DM'd Lance Archer and I said, like, what kind of Texas death match? Because, like, every territory has a different style of it. Some are just kind of like, as you said, walk and brawl, like just kind of no holds barred. Some are, you know, the last man standing match or whatever. And I think at the time he didn't know because he was just like, hey, wait and see. I was like, yeah, that means you don't know. But yeah, so it is going to be, it has to be won by a 10 count. Knockout or submission as well. So similar to kind of the last man standing match. We know the reason for this is Moxley's going to want to walk and brawl, and Archer's good at that style too. But like you said, it's going to be like how many people are going to be able to see it? Like, how is it going to look? Like the camera's going to pan back, and it's going to maybe be a little silly. Like, I don't love it. I don't love the idea of a Texas death match in the Dome. It just, to me, I don't know. It just, I just don't love the idea of kind of walk and brawl in the crowd at the Dome. It just, I don't know. I'm uneasy about it, and I hate the last man standing stipulation as well. So
if it's a situation where most of the building can't see what's going on, it's going to lack some heat. Because, Rich, as you know, we've both been to indie shows in small buildings where guys go brawling into the crowd and, you know, 90% of the crowd can't see what's going on, and the match just lacks heat because of it.
Right.
This will be extrapolated in a Dome with 40,000 people where 39,980 of them can't see what's going on and they aren't making any noise, you know, even with the big screens and whatnot. It's just, but maybe they keep it to ringside. See, there's no precedent here. We don't know how this is going to be worked. And the one plus side of it, though, is you've got Lance Archer in what is probably the biggest match of his career, right? Either that or the G1 match against Will Osprey in Dallas, one or the other, right? And then you've got John Moxley, and I think both of them are prideful and want to go out there and steal the show. So that is what you have working for you. I mean, so I think they're going to work hard, and and for that reason, I think it has a chance to be really good. It's just a match that can really fall flat if it's not the right kind of match for that building, or if everything works out and they go out there and really kill each other. It could be one of the better matches on the show. You know, I think this one has a very wide variance more than any other match on night one.
Yeah, and the thing that's cool too is you know, I do think that, and I mentioned a little bit, like, I don't love the stipulation, I don't love the idea of a walk and brawl, but it's like these two guys, it's their best style of matches. John Moxley excels in these types of matches. Lance Archer, as we said, is going to excel not only in this type of match, but also in this atmosphere as well. Like you said, this is a big deal for him. I'm sure that Dallas one in his own backyard was a big deal, but for a guy that's been in Japan for so many years and whose career really got resurrected or got saved, basically is probably the best way to say it, by Japan, you know, going to that Dome, being a big part of that Dome, that's going to have to be a huge moment for him as well. And we know Moxley loves it too. He's bringing the wife along. You know, he's excited about it. This is something he's wanted for a long time too. He's a wrestling nerd. He watches this stuff. He knows how big of a deal this is. So the idea that, like, it's these, like, all the things are working against it in terms of, like, the style of the match might not work in the Dome. The type of the match is not a match that I really love, but it's these two dudes, and I know that they're going to give it 100%. So it's like, I know that those guys are going to work. It's just a matter of, is the crowd going to be into it, and how will the match sort of work, or will they kind of lose them a little bit in you know, kind of the last man standing stipulation, which can get a little long in the tooth sometimes. As I said, it's a lot of time it's just like guys counting to 7, and it's like, that's not a lot of fun. It really isn't. But I think these two guys are the best men to do it and to make it fun. So I'm looking forward to it, even though I do have some you know, some pessimistic thoughts about it, you know, ultimately.
I think the floor is like 2.5, and I think the ceiling is 5.
Oh, for sure. It could absolutely be like a, man, they just fucking missed the mark on that one, or that fucking ruled.
Yeah.
Easily. Yeah, no, there's a lot of matches here. Like, we're going to talk about, Will Osprey versus Hiromu. The floor is like 4. You know what I mean? Like, those guys are not going to have a bad match. The match is going to be incredible. This match, though, this Archer Moxley, it could be a dud. It could absolutely just, like, not work and just kind of be lame, and the crowd doesn't really care, and you're just like, all right, let's get this over with, let's move on. Or it could fucking rock, like you're saying. So this, probably the widest variance of any single match in this entire, 2 nights, I would say, for Archer and Moxley.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that's a good transition to Will Ospreay and Hiromu, which...
Jesus Christ.
I'm talking about ceilings and floors. I mean,
Christ.
The floor on this one is 4 stars. I mean,
having seen what Hiromu's done in his comeback, his first few matches back, and knowing how important this is for Will, I mean, the floor is fucking 4.5, easy.
How important it is for both. I mean, these are 2 guys that definitely want to go out there and have the best match. They don't want to get shown up by anything that comes after them. Whether it's Okada and Ibushi or Naito and Jay White. And, they're 2 of... Well, Will Ospreay was the best wrestler in the world in 2019. I mean, and Hiromu was arguably the best wrestler in the world before he broke his neck 18 or 19 months ago, whatever it was. So, and if you saw them at the, the press conference last month, they're insulted that they're 3rd from the top, and their goal is to go out there and have the best match possible. I mean, they said that in not so many words. And that's scary when you're dealing with these 2 guys. If Hiromu is even 90% of what he was, and these guys go out there with the goal being to have the best match on Wrestle Kingdom, then it's going to be a match of the year caliber bout. This is the kind of match where if it's like a really awesome 4-star match, you're disappointed. Mm-hmm. This has to be a match of the year contender or you're disappointed, because that's how good this should be with these 2 guys and with these stakes and in the building that's in and everything else. So I got to tell you, I'm looking forward to this match more than anything on these 2 shows.
Absolutely, 100%. And more encouraged by seeing Hiromu come back and seeing how he's worked already and seeing how the intensity of those 2 guys. We talk about all the time with American indies and all sorts of stuff. I'm not going to get into that rant right now. That bell rang and these 2 guys were ripping at each other. I fucking loved it. Hiromu just out of the gates, just fucking cannonballing at him. Osprey just going for everything he could right off the bat. It's just like these guys want to tear each other apart and prove that they're the best in the world. And I was like, fuck, I want this match so badly. And I don't know about you, but I'm more encouraged seeing Hiromu back and seeing how quickly he's kind of acclimated to the ring again. There might be a little bit of rust here and there, but it looks like he's ready and he's not gonna stop being Hiromu. That was the concern is he's gonna come back and he's gonna be a little less or whatever. No, that guy's he'll probably break his neck again at some point in his career, but he's not going out, like he's not changing his style at all. He's gonna be what he is, and given Will's track record the last year and a half, 2 years, 3 years, whatever you want to say, but especially given his track record in this last year, capping off 2019, quote unquote, with this match in this dome, 3rd from the top against Hiromu. I mean, it's one of these things where, like, you're right. If it's 4 stars, it's going to be disappointing, but I am almost, my brain can't comprehend these guys going out there and just having a fine match. You know what I mean? My brain is so exceeded. And that's one of these things. I might disappoint myself because I'm so excited about it, but like, it's these 2 guys, and the track record is just unbelievable for these guys, especially Will in this year. So like, I'm pretty locked in that this thing's going to be great. Like there's almost no chance that it's not going to be good. So.
Yeah. And I thought, like you had mentioned, the build during the Christmas Corkins was great. It really got me even more hyped up for the matches. Did you happen to see the hype video that Lance Archer did for his match against Moxley?
Yeah, that was great.
That was awesome too. And that was a match that badly needed a little bit of fire lit under it. No pun intended, since there was a literal fire in the video. But yeah, he did a great job of that. It's hard because Moxley isn't around. You know what I mean? So, but that's on the New Japan YouTube if people want to check that out. So, but the Osprey Hiromu build has been really great from the press conference right through those matches at Korakuen. And I can't wait for that. And they planted that seed. Look, Robbie Eagles pinning Hiromu on those shows. I mean, that may have... Look, I felt like Hiromu was going to win this anyway, but that kind of just gives it away, because it's like Hiromu will win and then he'll be all set up for a Robbie Eagles title defense and New Beginning or something.
Right.
Which is fine, because at that point, it's like, does Will Ospreay, is this his Kenny Omega lost to Kushida?
Yes, I think so. It has to be. He's got 2020. He has to be a heavyweight. He's got to be in that mix.
Yeah. So, and then Robbie Eagles takes over as the Chaos, the number one Chaos Jr. Based on the fact, look, pinning Hiromu is a big deal, even if it's in his return. I mean, that's a big fucking deal. So they're firmly behind Eagles, who had a great year. I mean, he just had a fantastic year. And it's a shame he's not featured more prominently on these shows. Is he on them at all? I
think he's not, which is kind of shocking. I think. Well, no, he'll be on the gauntlet, the night 2. But yeah, that's only kind of being featured. So
that seems to be what will happen here, right? Hiromu wins, does the Liger match the next day, and then defends against Robbie Eagles sometime in late January or February or whatever the hell it is. So.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, there's nothing more to do with Osprey in that division as well, and it's time for Hiromu to kind of take his place again as the top junior. And Will was probably if Hiromu doesn't get hurt, Will may have been up a little bit sooner than he was. Like maybe he's just kind of filling that role for right now. But yeah, there's almost no reason for him to be there anymore. And they got guys ready, and that's the cool thing about New Japan is anytime a guy gets elevated, there's always a guy, as you said, Robbie Eagles is right there, ready to take a spot, almost literally as like the next Chaos Junior, as you said. It's perfect how they did that.
This is why that motherfucker is a first ballot Hall of Fame booker. I mean, this is what we've been screaming about for 8 years, Rich. This is the stuff that matters. Having the next people on the bench ready to step into the roles that are vacated, either through elevating someone or someone leaving the company. They are always ready. And people focus on the dumbest shit when it comes to Gato. And some of that stuff annoys me too. Don't get me wrong. Okay, we've screamed about the tag team divisions for years, even though, to me, the junior tag division gets unfairly slagged on. I think that's booked well. But the heavyweight tag division, it's garbage. And yeah, I wish it was better. And some of the other things. But this is the stuff that matters. Having new stars ready to step in, that's his job. That's what his focus, that's what you want to be good at. You can get away with being bad at that other dumb shit that everybody whines about. But having people ready to step into roles and having them ready is the key, not just forcing people into the role because you have no other choice, which is what every other, so many other bookers get stuck doing. And which is why so many other companies have struggle to get momentum going and to build stars, because they force guys into spots once they're backed into a corner. This dude always has the next guys ready, whether it's at the top of the card or down a little bit lower. It's incredible.
Right. And insignificant matches matter. Like you said, a lot of people probably watch Robbie Eagles pin Hiromu and just went, oh, okay, whatever. Robbie Eagles pin Hiromu. But it's like, no, this is a 2-year long build of Robbie Eagles, not only joining the company, joining Bullet Club. El Phantasmo comes in, takes his spot as the Bullet Club Junior. Robbie Eagles falls back a little bit. Then he goes over to Chaos. He moves under the tutelage of Will Osprey. And then over that year, he does well, he's got good tag matches, he's winning a bunch of matches, and then he gets that final pin the final night against Hiromu, and it's like, yeah, it might seem insignificant, but then when you look at it in totality, it's like, holy fuck, that's a 2-year kind of slow ascension for Robbie Eagles, and now Will Osprey can lose this match, move on to becoming a heavyweight, and Chaos is ready to go with Hiromu, the guy who beat him for the title, can now defend that title against a stablemate who's now ready to move up the ladder because of 2, 3, 4 years of build or whatever. That's fucking great. That's great.
Another ad for the book. I wrote a long-ass essay on this entire story, this 2-year Robbie Eagle build. Go read it. And Rich just gave it a Cliff Notes version, they picked this guy and they had a whole story laid out for this guy for over for the last year and a half, really, when he came in with Bullet Club, and it all played out. And now, they peaked it all here. Will's going to move on. Robbie steps up. It's just, that's why Guido's the best.
Yep.
That's why he's the best.
All right, so now 2 big matches here that round out night 1 of the first night of Wrestle Kingdom 14. Jay White versus Naito for the IC title. Joe, who you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go chalk. I really think it's gonna be Naito Okada on night 2. I'd like to do something exotic. But that's really what I think they're going to do. I think it's what they should do. And I think Naito winning that match is the right play as well. So I'm just going to go chalk with it. I will say this, that those are my picks. Naito, Okada, and then Naito. And I really don't have a pick for the consolation match because I'm not putting any thought into that. But as far as though what I want to happen, it's like I would be okay with any of these 4 coming out of this thing with both titles. I think there's interest, and that's why I think this is so intriguing, because there's a good story there for all four of them. Naito's is obvious, right? That's the one everyone's talking about. Coming, the redemption, beating Okada in the Tokyo Dome, and it was his idea for double titles to begin with. Plus, beating Okada finishes up that little story when Okada beat him 2 years ago. We all know Naito's story, right? But look at Kota Ibushi. The guy wins G1. He's a contracted wrestler with the company now, and it would be his first IWGP title. That would be a great moment if he won on night 2. Okada, the most dominant champion of this era, a first ballot Hall of Famer in his own right, a living legend. Okay, so it would make a lot of sense for that guy to win both of these matches and continue to assert his dominance. And Rich, like you, I love dominant champions. I think dominant champions are a great story. I'm not one of these people that want to change titles every 6 months. I don't get tired of people. I like dominance, and this guy's been dominant, so it would be a good story to have him continue to be dominant. And then you have Jay White. His story is like the Troll story. He would come in and ruin it for everyone.
Yeah, just like I said, the final image is him just cackling in the corner. Him and Gato just pointing at the camera, cackling like, ha, 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 we told you, you fucking assholes. And it's like, God damn it. He won again, that asshole.
And I would get a real kick out of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Out of 40,000 people booing him out of the building as he gives another one of his fucking pompous-ass promos as he holds both of those titles. So I think that would be interesting, too. I'm okay with any result. Any combination and any result, I am okay with it. And there's so many possibilities for the final match. Naito Okada would be a great match. Okada Jay White, there's a lot of history there with those two, and Jay White beat Okada in the Dome last year. Naito and Kota Ibushi have been feuding for a year. That would be an interesting fun. So there's a lot of, listen, I really don't think they can go wrong here with anything that they do. I really don't. But I do think they're going to go chalk and give us the chalk story of Okada Naito, and then Naito standing tall at the end.
Yeah, I want to pick something exotic as well, but yeah, that's kind of the one that I'm going for as well. It's kind of interesting to see some of the betting odds and the way they're going a little bit, and that could just be people sort of hedging bets and thinking of different things they could do or whatnot. But yeah, it's hard to not pick that the Naito pick. Like as you said, I wouldn't be shocked if something different happens. I wouldn't be shocked if Okada leaves or whatever, or if Kota Ibushi leaves or whatever, because you know I would really not be stunned if Okada loses night 1 to Ibushi. I kind of think that story works as well. You're talking about stories that work and kind of culminating in stories and things that you can tell or whatever. A great story as well would be Kota Ibushi winning that title over Okada, and then Naito defeating Ibushi night 2, defeating the guy that he's, him and Ibushi have had that feud for the last year or so, traded wins back and forth or whatever. Naito definitively beats him, and now he still needs that one moment. He still needs that match against Okada, so that can kind of wait and go down the line, and they can wait for Dominion, or they could wait for, a show down the line that year to do it as well. Like, I don't think that's a completely implausible situation as well. Like, I really do think that that's a possibility. Do I, would I bet that line? I wouldn't. The way I would bet would be Naito and Okada. But I could see justifications, and like you said, you could see stories. It's not like any of those other scenarios are completely unfathomable. And that is, again, as we're kind of throwing roses at Gato there, that's another real tribute to Gato in the sense that, like, any one of these four guys can walk out with both championships, and I feel like most people, if you're really thinking about it and not really, dyed-in-the-wool big fan of Okada or dyed-in-the-wool huge fan of Naito or whatever, you could leave that night and say, okay, no, that's a decent story. That's a good idea that they did that. You know what I mean? Like, unless you're just one of those ardent fans that loves those people or hates Jay White or whatever, you can make a justification for every single one of those guys and be like, you know what? Yeah, that's a pretty good story. That's kind of cool that they did that. Like, and that's cool. Like, usually with four people, there's like one guy. It's like, oh yeah, there's no chance in hell. And for some people, that's Jay White. But there's a non-zero chance of Jay White too. I mean, like, you really have to think about that. Like, he is definitely the least likely to do it, but I don't think it's a zero. I don't think it's a zero. And then the other three guys, especially Naito, Okada, and Ibushi, like, you can make good stories out of them winning both titles pretty easily. So, and you can make good stories out of any different combination of those matches too. Hell, you can make a good story out of Jay White, retaining the IC title, and Okada retaining the IWGP title and beating him in the Tokyo Dome. Like, you could make that story. Like, I wouldn't do that. I don't know if I like that story all that much, but it's not an unrealistic story either. And they've done a great job of keeping these four really interwoven throughout the year and really in making these matches feel unique, but at the same time the next matches that can happen all feel unique and different as well, but also possibly have some trace to history and trace to the last year. Okada, Naito, obviously there's a ton of history there. Ibushi, Naito, a ton of history there. The only real one that's kind of out of nowhere would be like Jay White and Kota Ibushi, and that's the only one that, like, I really don't think anybody's predicting that combo main eventing night 2 of Wrestle Kingdom. But I mean, that's the one scenario where I'm like, I don't know about that, guys. That might not work. So.
Yeah. As far as match quality, do you think we're going to get 4 great matches here? Do you think? I think Jay White's the one that people worry about in terms of match quality. But when I look at the matchups, I mean, I think Naito Jay White is going to be a great match. It's hard to project. I mean, he's had great matches with Okada. So, and he had the great G1 final against Ibushi. So, and the other 3 guys you don't really worry about. So, do you think we get 4 great matches?
I don't know if we get 4. Like, I have no doubt Okada and Ibushi is going to be great. I mean, that's going to be fantastic. White and Naito is, I don't know. Those guys can be kind of, it's nothing against really Naito. It's nothing against White. Like, I like both those guys, but for whatever reason in my mind, are you kind of the same way as well? In my mind, of any possible scenario, that's the match that just kind of feels like it might not reach those super highs of those other matches. Are you the same way as well?
I think,
because that's the only one that doesn't really. Yeah, I don't know. That one doesn't click with me as much.
Of all the combinations, of all the possible combinations, I would agree that Naito White is the one I'm least confident in of being great. So I think I agree with you.
Yeah, and I like both wrestlers, and I think both guys would have. I mean, they're both going to have. I mean, if it's Naito and Okada on the night 2, it's going to be a tremendous match. If it's Jay White,
Naito Okada is going to be. If we get that, it's going to be an all-time match because it's for both belts. They'll do callbacks from 2 years ago. He's going to hit the Destino at one point, and I think Okada will kick out, and I think that's just going to blow the roof off the building. And I think Naito will probably kick out of a Rainmaker at some point, which again is going to get the same reaction because they really protect finishers to an insane degree in this company. But in matches like this is where you'll see the kickouts. And that's why it'll then have so much impact because you don't see it under normal circumstances. So I think if those 2 guys with all the history there and what happened 2 years ago, and it'll be easy for them to have a great match, but they'll kill themselves anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
And they'll load it up with all kinds of near falls and kick out spots and whatnot. And it'll be super exciting. And that'll be the right kind of match to have. It's not always the right kind of match for every circumstance to have a match loaded with kickouts. That will be one where you're going to want that if you get that matchup. But yeah, I forgot what I was talking about. But yeah, I think Jay White Naito would be the one. If I had to have like a confidence ranking, that would be the one I'm least confident in to be great.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it's on night 1. No, you would think, if it were the final, I'd be a little more. I think whatever the final is for both belts will be a great match. But yeah, every other combination should be awesome. I mean, Naito and Ibushi, if they wrestle each other again, they have a great match every single time. And Okada against any of those guys. So yeah, I do think all 4 matches will be great, though. I do.
All right, let's get to night 2, and we'll kind of recap it again with the final of night 2 as we've kind of gone through the scenarios there. But we'll start with the pre-show on night 2, January 5th, of course, for this one. Gauntlet match for the never open-weight 6-man tag team title. So, Joe, rest in peace, the New Japan Rumble. I hope it comes back at some point. I love the New Japan Rumble. I'm very upset that it's gone. Are you going to miss it, or do you not really care that much that it's went by the wayside?
I liked it as a dumb little fun match. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, hopefully we get it back.
Yeah, I'm the gauntlets. I hate these gauntlet matches too, which is the worst issue, is that it's been replaced by just like this utter trash of a match. But luckily it's on the pre-show, so I can realistically, if I wanted to, just kind of skip it and not feel like I'm really missing anything out. But anyway, gauntlet match for the never open weight 6-man. The team.
It's a championship. It's a championship match.
Oh,
Rich.
They don't care about these titles. They don't even. I forgot these titles were even around.
Do you know who the longest reigning champions in New Japan are?
The fucking never open weight 6-man guys. Yeah,
that's right. Most violent players in Taguchi. Put some respect on their name.
Okay, here's the best part about the respect part is, and Chris Charlton pointed this out on one of the nights. I think it was the final night, maybe the 21st. the Corkin show, is Makabe came out and Kevin Kelly was talking about, that's a never openweight 6-man tag team champions, and Chris Charlton goes, I think Makabe forgot his belt. It's like he didn't bring the belt out.
Ah, jeez.
Like Taguchi had it. It was like, hey, how's it going? And Makabe was like, I forgot it. Like,
that's a
I'm
big
like, oh my god, what? Just get rid of these damn things. Like, yeah, Makabe's just like, I don't know what happened to him. Like, does he have them? Are they in his possession? I don't even know. Taguchi seems to enjoy that he has them. Yano seems to, I guess, enjoy that he has them. Yeah, Makabe came out and was just like, I don't know. I forgot it, so that's fine.
It's a bad job. But I mean,
would you care about these either? I wouldn't.
I don't mind these titles. I know everybody rags on them.
They stink. You're get out of here.
Yeah, they do. But why does every title have to be awesome? I mean, it's like
I guess that's right, but why does this title have to suck though?
It's the 8th most important title.
It is. Well, then get rid of it. I don't want it. I don't even want it. Go away.
Probably less than that if you count the Rev Pro title and the Rev Pro Junior title, which are belong to New Japan wrestlers right now. You could argue it's the 11th most important title in the company if you want to count Zack. Well, Zack's title is higher on the card.
I was going to say, it's definitely harder on the card. Yeah, definitely higher.
And if you want to count Phantasmo with his British junior title, I mean, I would think that's a more important title than this too, even in New Japan's canon. So it's the 11th most important title. And it's like, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with them defending it once every 2 months against some wacky combination of teams. And I don't know. I don't need it to be super important. I don't know. It's just a dumb little thing for the undercard. But and you have every unit represented here.
Yeah, that's cool. Like, it's fun.
And there's no Suzuki, which is notable. Maybe they do something on night one because it's Taichi leading a couple guys here. And Yoshinobu Kanemaru working his way. He's not on night one, but they got him on night 2 here in this gauntlet.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I think that is, to me, the most interesting thing about this match is that Suzuki is not in this team. And I guess it makes sense, give him the night off or whatever. But the idea that Taichi is leading this unit, that Taichi's the top guy. And there's been some rumblings about it. I think Suzuki at one point said Taichi Gun or whatever. So there's some stuff going on there. And that's the one thing that I look at and gives me hope for that night one. I didn't want to talk about it when we were talking about the night one thing, but this is the thing that triggers me the most. Is like, okay, well, Taichi is leading this team in the gauntlet. It could just be that Minoru's like, I don't want to wrestle that thing. I don't care. Have Taichi lead the team. Or it could be that, something happens, a passing of the torch moment, they turn on Suzuki, something happens there. But I think it's interesting and notable that Taichi is leading that team and not Suzuki.
Yeah. And I mean, we had heard that Suzuki wanted an exit plan from the company, but wanted to do the Liger feud first. And now there have been more rumblings. And like you said, ever since we talked about that, they've done subtle things in the promos. Like you said, Suzuki referencing Taichi Gun and Taichi maybe getting too big for his britches in Suzuki's eyes and stuff like that. So it's not like they haven't dropped tiny hints about it either since we first heard that he might want to part ways. And he's not in this match, and you might say, okay, well, why would he be in this match? He's a big... Well, Tomohiro Ishii's in this match. And Shingo is in this match, and Evil in this match.
Right, there's some heavier hitters than Minoru Suzuki who are doing the double duty here, and Suzuki is not. So
yeah, these are all guys who are working night one. Who it's like so, and there's plenty of like chaos guys they could have thrown in there instead of Ishii. They could put Rocky Romero or something in this match, right? I mean, it's not like you had to have Ishii in this thing. So I don't know. It's just something worth keeping your eye on.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if I'm working myself into a shoot because I want there to be a big angle in those dumb 8-man tags, and I will be disappointed if that match just comes and goes and there's just nothing in that direction, and then New Year Dash comes and goes and there's nothing in that direction. But it's weird that, or maybe they just wanted to find a way to get Kanemaru onto the shows because he's not on night one.
Right.
It could be
something. Yeah, it could be something as simple and stupid as that. We're caring too much about it, but I don't know.
Because Robbie Eagles is another guy who is only working this show. Is he the only other one? Is Yoshihashi on the first show?
Yoshihashi is. Yes, he is. He's in the Chaos Bullet Club 8-man.
So I think it's just Eagles and Kanemaru then, right? Because
Chase is working both. I think that's it. Yeah.
So it could just be that this was the only possible spot for Kanemaru and Eagles, and they wanted to reward these guys for working hard all year and being part of the mix. And that might be the only reason Suzuki's not in it, for all I know. But it's definitely, again, it's an undercard match for a title that I seem to be the only person that cares about. So if you're looking for some reason to care about this match, one thing to keep an eye on is Suzuki's not there. And if they do turn on Suzuki on night one, they're probably going to win this match, those three guys. Because why would you do a big turn and give Taichi a big push and then have him lose the next night in a pre-show? I mean, you have to have them come out of the match with the titles at that point. You know, you almost have to do it. And Kanemaru and Despy are a regular tag team anyway. So even the way they've stacked the team makes a lot of sense. I'm talking myself into this entire scenario as we do this. It just all lines up. You know, they jump Suzuki the night before. They come away with the open weight titles the next night. And then maybe they defend them at Dash the next day too. And Taichi cuts a promo or whatever. It just makes
it does.
It
really
up.
does.
It all lines up.
Because the rest of the teams are just kind of like there. I mean, we'll talk about the teams here. Is, you know, the most violent players, Makabe and Yano and Taguchi. They're the champions coming in. You got Ishii, Yoshihashi, and Robbie Eagles. It's kind of just, you know, whatever.
It's a random collection of fucking chaos.
Yeah, exactly. And Eagles has bigger and better things to do and worry about or whatnot. Right. So yeah, it doesn't really work for him. Bullet Club, Bad Luck Fale, Chase Owens, and Yujiro. Good God help us, poor Chase Owens.
Guys, just random guys. Yeah, and the LIJ team is just the leftovers who don't have a singles match.
Right, and those guys are all like, Shingo needs to be doing bigger and better things. Evil needs to be doing bigger and better things. And Bushi, Bushi's there. Bushi's also a wrestler. And then Suzuki, it makes a lot of sense that team would be the big pick there. Taichi, El Desperado, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. So it's gauntlet match style, obviously. So yeah, one team comes in, they beat them, the new team comes in, yada, 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 like that. So
they did it last year, but they did it for the number one contender spot. This is for the actual titles.
Right.
So,
which is cool. That adds a little bit of a stake to it. Yeah, you know, I appreciate that at least a little bit. So, all right, Jushin Thunder Liger's final match, the retirement match. It is Liger teaming with Sano versus Lee and Hiromu. It is former rivals teaming together to face. You know, it's. We talked about it a few weeks ago. It's dripping with story here. It's Liger and his old rival teaming up to face the next generation of juniors in this team, and Ryu Lee and Hiromu. And then these guys also are hated enemies and hated rivals or whatever. Ryu just, you know, broke Hiromu's neck 18 months ago or whatever. Sano and Liger used to rip each other apart and kill one another. Now they're teaming against Lee, and oh my God, I love it, Joe. It's great. It's fantastic. Oh my God, it's great.
Two sets of generational rivals separated by 30 years is the theme here. The Yoshiaki Fujiwara in the corner of Liger and Sano. You know, it's just there's a lot of symbolism here and a lot of history here. And I have no idea if Sano can still go. Doesn't really matter. I mean, I don't think anyone cares if they go out there and don't have a great match. If they have a great match, that's just a bonus. This is Jushin Thunder Liger's final match. You know, I don't think anyone's going to be nitpicking spots and, you know, rushing to throw stars on this one anyway. Does not matter. It's just the symbolism and the history is what matters here. So, you know, when it was first announced, I was a little, but as more time has passed, I'm very much into the idea of this.
Have you seen Sano wrestle recently? I know he pops up every so often in just random tag matches in All Japan. I think he does, you know, their big time shows or whatnot. I know he shows up on those produce shows or whatnot. I can't recall seeing him anytime in the last few years, so I don't know what his state of affairs are, what his body looks like right now. It looks like he works every so often. He's wrestled twice this year, a few times in 2018, so not too active, but do you recall seeing him anytime over the most recent years?
I don't watch the grimy ass shit that he would be booked on. It's just I'm not into it. I don't
watching
like
the Masakatsu Funaki produce shows.
No, and I'm not one of these people who pops for like watching these fucking old guys. I don't like watching 55-year-old men who used to be great of terrible matches that people pretend are good. That's never been my thing. So I'm not seeking out the kind of shows that he would be on. So no, I haven't seen him recently. And to be honest, I was never a fan of his. The Liger matches are legendary matches. Okay? The rest of his career, I was never a fan of Sano. Especially like late career Sano and Noah. Like in the mids for me. Now he was never doing anything important. he'd always be in an early match tag with like Masao Inoue or something, and it's like that whole group of Noah old guys in that era, Inoue and Sano and Saito and all. Like I just like the Noah undercards were so bad. You just wanted to get to the business end. So I was never a big fan of Sano. So, and he's got to be 60 at this point, right? I mean,
yeah, I think I just saw it. I thought it was 59 or 54. He's only 54. So,
oh wow, holy shit! Well, I guess it makes sense if Liger's 55.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about Sano is, I would have thought he was 50. 15
yeah,
years ago.
he's a rough 54. I'm looking at pictures of him right now.
You know, it's like,
yeah, he's fallen on some. I don't want to say hard times, but yeah, man has definitely aged. And yeah, you look at pictures of him in the '90s, and he looks like he's like 36 years old already, and he was like 22. He's 23, 24. Yeah, so he's only, he's not too. Yeah, he's it's pretty rough. I don't know. I'm not.
It's like Otani. I don't even think he's 50 yet, if you can believe it. He's like 49. He might be 50 now, but he was like 48 or 49 the last time I looked up his age.
He's 47. Oh my God. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Like, first of all,
he's looked that same way since 1994. But.
Well, that's the thing. He hasn't. Like, he used to, when he was young, but like, he's looked so old for like the last 10 years that like, I was stunned that he was only in his 40s the last time I looked up his age.
See, I don't know, man. I went back and watched some of the old ones in like the mid 90s or the late 90s. I want to say him and Liger.
Yeah.
And he's already looking pretty old, even in 1997 or whatnot. He hasn't like the hair is definitely where it ages him the most. He's yes. holding on to the last remnants of the hair, but you can see it in those matches too that like the hair's getting pulled back. He's got an old face. He's just kind of an old soul, Otani. That.
Sano too. He's got like those chubby cheeks. And like the jowls, he just always looked like an old guy. It's surprising. I would have thought he was 50 15 years ago, like legitimately in those matches in Noah. But I don't know. Maybe he can still go at a reasonable level. I have no idea because, as I said, no, I probably haven't seen a Naoki Sano match since he was in Noah. So I have no clue. But I'm not complaining. I understand why they're doing it.
No, it's fine. It's all about, you're not going to, like you said, you're not going to be sitting there waiting to give this one like the that was only 3 stars. I'm really disappointed. And like, it's all about the symbolism and the story and all that sort of stuff. So that's all anybody's going to be really paying attention to or caring about. So
will Liger beat somebody here?
No way.
Will he beat somebody on the first night?
I don't think so. I think he'll lose both nights.
Do you think he's eating the pin?
I think so. I think he's eating the pin both times too. It's him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he would want to. They'd have to force him to get a victory in these matches.
I don't think he's beating either of these guys.
He's definitely not. Night 2, there's no chance in hell. Maybe night 1, just because there's not really like the next guy. Like the team he's facing, it's like, who you give him the rub to Otani. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's night 1, he can beat someone. He probably won't be Otani because he's still pushed in his promotion. Taguchi, and then who are the other two? It's
Takiyawa. But there's no real reason for Takiyawa to win. But I guess he could beat him. Yeah, he could beat him. So
fourth guy.
It was Sano, Otani, Takiyawa, and Taguchi.
Oh, Sano, that's right, Sano. He could beat Takiyawa. Yeah, he could beat Takiyawa. He could beat him. So I think he'll win night 1. I think he'll lose night 2.
I think he loses both nights. I think Taguchi beats him night 1. And then he loses whoever, Hiromu or Lee, it doesn't matter, beats him night 2. There's no 0% chance he's winning night 2, though, for sure.
I don't think he'll win night 2.
No, he's definitely going out as a loser. And then we have the next day on the 6th.
But do you think?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Do you think he gets pinned night 2, or do they beat Sano?
I think he gets pinned.
I think he gets pinned too.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
That's the right way to do business. He knows. He's not an idiot.
Yeah. And if Hiromu wins the title the night before, Hiromu's pinning him.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Because they want to give Hiromu that big career thing. Like, I beat Jushin Thunder Liger in his final match, and Hiromu is their next star. I don't know if you heard, I listened to Jim Valley's audio with Dave and Fumi Saito earlier today. And he said on the trains, you get these video boards with the Wrestle Kingdom ads. And They show the Wrestle Kingdom logo. They show Kazuchika Okada, and then they show Hiromu. That's the ad.
Wow.
What do you think of that?
That's huge. I mean, yeah. I said it years ago, and unfortunately, the injury derailed him. And I don't know if it was in the ebook or in a review, but I said Hiromu to me will be the guy that if all things go right and his injury, obviously he comes back fully from this injury, he'll be the guy that will transcend more than almost any other guy will transcend weight divisions. Like he could be the biggest star while still also a junior, or it will be so overwhelmingly like, no, this guy has to be like, I don't know what they're gonna do with him because like. It's hard to envision him bulking up, quote unquote, to get to like what they want as heavyweights. Like Will Osprey had to put on like a bunch of weight to at least, sell it. Shingo Takagi can just be a heavyweight tomorrow because he's a big guy anyway. But Hiromu, I don't know if his body can take that, but I don't think that they're going to have any choice. Like he is going to be that guy that transcends that weight class.
How much smaller is he than Naito?
I guess that's a good question. Yeah, let me see what
They're
Hiromu
about the
is.
same size.
He's got that baby fat right now, so I guess if he could ever find a way to kind of tighten that up a little bit, it probably wouldn't really matter that much. But Hiromu is listed at, this is what Wikipedia has. I don't know if that's true. I think that's what New Japan has as well. 5'7", 197 or 194 for Hiromu, and they have Naito at 5'11", 225. So it's a pretty.
You think he's 5'11"?
I don't think he's 5'11". I think he's healthy. I think he's 5'9", 5'10", somewhere in that range.
Is he? Because don't they list Tanahashi at 5'9"?
Let me see what they list Tanahashi at. Because I don't know about that. Yeah, Tanahashi is listed at 5'11", so they have Tanahashi and Naito listed at the same weight or same height rather. So
I don't know that they're 5'11". They could be. I don't know. But when I see Hiromu and Naito wrestle together, in my mind's eye, I don't picture them as being drastically different sizes.
Mm-hmm.
I never think to myself, wow, Naito is so much bigger than Hiromu. Maybe I need to pay closer attention to that. But I've always said, and we talked about this when Kushida was leaving the company and people were annoyed. Why don't they move him to heavyweight? You have to have one of three things if you're a junior to credibly move up to heavyweight. You either need to be very tall, and that's where Zack Sabre Jr. comes in, right? Because he's the weight of a junior, but he's like 6'3".
Yeah, exactly. He's tall.
So height can make you credible, as in the case of Zack Sabre Jr., right? You could put on some weight, and that's where Will Ospreay comes in. Plus, he has the height, too, but you get the idea. Tomohiro Ishii, there you go. That's a guy who's like 5'4", but because he has the weight...
Brick shithouse, yeah. So.
Right, because he's shaped like a fucking bowling ball and he has the weight, he's a credible heavyweight, even though he's only... So he's like the opposite of Zack Sabre Jr. Zack doesn't have the weight, but he has the height. Ishii doesn't have the height, but he has the weight. So you can credibly... And both of those guys have worked as juniors, and now they both work as heavyweights. And the third thing that can make you a credible heavyweight is overwhelming star charisma. Okay? That's the element that comes in for Hiromu. People don't care how tall you are, how heavy you are at that point if you have overwhelming star charisma. Just like Naito. He has overwhelming star charisma. You don't think of his size, right? Now, if you're Marco Stunt, it's not going to matter. You can only go so far with it. But I don't think Hiromu is Marco Stunt. He's a decent-sized human being. So he has that overwhelming star charisma to where I think you can move him to heavyweight credibly. What do you think of that take?
That's an interesting one. Yeah, I don't know. I never thought of it that way. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, what do you got?
My argument against Kushida at the time was he didn't have any of those three elements.
Right.
He was very short. He was very light. And he does not have overwhelming superstar charisma. Which is why my argument was it would have been ridiculous to make him a heavyweight. Because he looks tiny, even next to small heavyweights, and he didn't have the overwhelming star charisma to make up for it. He didn't have any of the three elements. Whereas I think Hiromu might not have the height, might not have the weight, but he has the overwhelming star charisma. And honestly, I think he's big enough to where his charisma would outweigh the other two.
Right. Like you can plausibly make him. That's why I said, like, I think he transcends the weight by plausibly looking enough like a heavyweight, but maybe he's not like your stereotypical, like, quote unquote heavyweight. But I think it's because, like, he's so overwhelmingly charismatic and such a big deal. And like you said, he's marketable and fans obviously love him. Women love him. Men love him. I mean, it's like, this is a guy. Like, this is going to be a star. And like, had that injury not happened, we may have already been at that point right now. But in a lot of ways, it's this next year is going to be super important in his career and his futures. So yeah, he's definitely, he's getting that win. And I did not know that he's on the ads. It's Okada and him. And I'm not shocked, man. I'm not shocked. I mean, this is a guy that yeah, he will be, barring any unforeseen circumstances, he will be one of the biggest stars in this company and maybe in pro wrestling in due time for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a small anecdotal thing.
No, it's important though. They think about that,
Yeah, and it is his big return singles match and all that. So, I get it, but yeah, I don't know. I think if they wanted to, well, what do you think of this scenario? Will and Hiromu talked a lot about proving the juniors can be the same as the heavyweights and taking the juniors to a new level.
Right.
Form a unit of juniors and let's take over and let's be the main event next year. Would it stun you if they don't move Will up, but instead move that whole junior division up?
Interesting. Yeah, that wouldn't shock me either. Yeah.
Because they're big enough stars to try it, those two. You throw and they signed Dragon Lee, okay, who isn't a star at the level of those two, but has rivalries with them and is just a notch below. So they went in that direction instead. All right, they don't move Will up, but instead they attempt to elevate the whole division because they have the big enough stars now to do it. I mean, that's something that I don't think is. I think it would surprise me, but it wouldn't. But they've planted seeds for it, so it wouldn't stun me.
Yeah, in this scenario, is there two like kind of separate junior division? And how do I describe this?
No, here's how it would be. Here's how it would be. If the hottest match at that time is Hiromu versus Will Osprey, that's the main event.
Right.
And Tetsuya Naito defending against fucking just pick somebody, Jay White, is the semi-main event. It's just it would take a lot of booking effort, but if they think Hiromu is that kind of a difference-making star, why can't it be done?
Right.
And
I mean, hell, you would have said this if you told me this scenario about the IC title, 7 years ago. I would have said, "Nah, you're out of your fucking mind. Get out of here." Right.
But yeah, and for a time, the IC did headline over. It headlined over the heavyweight in a Tokyo Dome show.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like in pro wrestling, it's all about who's the draw, who's drawing money, and if it happens to be the juniors, then they fucking headline. But again, you do have to put booking muscle behind it. But this stuff is a work. You can accomplish anything you want to accomplish if you have the right stars. And I don't know. Now, look, they sort of tried this with Liger decades ago, and it didn't really work. The circumstances were a little different. This is not the show to get into it. But Hiromu and Will are really great guys to try it with.
Yeah. Oh, no. For sure. Those are guys like, and it's no offense to Liger whatsoever, but yeah, there was, size issues at that time. There was, the idea of, juniors at that, like, I think now that phobia is kind of gone. Especially with guys like Will and Hiromu. Like Will especially.
It's a different era. It's a different era.
Right.
I mean, and then obviously Noah tried it with Kenta and Marufuji and it didn't work out. And it's funny looking back at that because they only drew like fucking 9,000 fans to that show. You know what I mean? It's like, but it's like, or whatever it was. The fake number, they said they sold it out, but there was only like 8 or 9, whatever. It's neither here nor there. But but like you're saying, now it's a different era, and I don't know that stigma does without question still, but only because they keep telling us it exists.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. And like, it's not even like that Hiromu would get in the ring there, or Will Osprey would get in the ring there with Okada, and it's like, oh my god, look at this little guy versus this heavyweight. Like, they're not that much different. Like, as you said, Naito and Hiromu is like not that much different. Looking at pictures, next to each other, it looks like Naito is like kind of a 4 heads taller than Hiromu, but it's not, it's not like some unbelievable discrepancy that like, yeah, you can't get by. So,
but you know what? Here's the thing: if he's legitimately a full head taller than him, but my perception is that they're the same size, that tells me Hiromu.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Then
that actually works in my favor of what I'm saying, because the perception is that I've never had that perception of this. They seem like guys that are roughly the same size to me, even if that's not legitimately the case. But I feel like if you're constantly telling people that the heavyweights are superior, then that's what but if you look, maybe last year with Will Osprey and Shingo and all that, maybe that was even more seed planting for elevating the juniors, showing that Will and Shingo were on the same level as the heavyweights.
Right, they just went in the G1 and they just did normal things. Like they were better than we predicted. We thought, oh fuck, here are the juniors in the G1. They're gonna get their asses kicked, and they were fine. Like, they weren't great. They weren't, the top of the blocks, but they were fine. They acclimated themselves perfectly. So,
Will Osprey beat Hiroshi Tanahashi in Sumo Hall.
Right.
I mean, it's like getting bigger than that. I mean, it doesn't matter that he lost to whoever the fuck in fucking Nagoya. That doesn't matter when you beat, because look, I can't even remember, right? I don't remember him who he lost to, but I remember that he beat Tanahashi, and that's why, again, this company is so well booked. Like, you would see people say, they fucked up the G1 with Will Osprey. He only won like 4 matches. Yeah, but what do you remember? Which ones do you remember? Which ones mattered, right? Beating Tanahashi is the one that instantly comes to mind. Coming within a hair of beating Okada. It doesn't fucking matter what he did against Bad Luck Fale. It does not matter. And, it's like it is literally irrelevant. Okay, so it's like, if they wanted to go that route, they've showed very intelligently that the top junior can go toe to toe with their very top heavyweights, with their legends. And now that this generational star, this Hiromu, who was just so immensely popular, is back, now would be the time to pull the trigger on something like this. And it's something that, when you look back at the things this company has done over the last year since Hiromu's been gone, it makes you think that maybe that is the direction. And maybe they sent those 2 guys out in that presser and told them deliberately to plant those seeds even further. I don't know. I just wanted to get your take on it.
Absolutely. That's fascinating discussion there. So that is the first match of night 2. That's why you listen to this preview, baby. Other people are going to give you the matches, run them down, give their predictions. We just went into like a 40-minute diatribe about juniors and the history and the future of juniors in New Japan. That's why you listen to this. But let's move on here. Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships, ironically enough. Bullet Club team of Taiji Ishimori and El Phantasmo, the champions, defending against Roppongi 3K, Sho and Yo. Joe, I know what's going to happen, and I don't want it to happen, and it's not because I don't like the guys. I'm just sick of this same story for what feels like now the last 4 years. Sho and Yo win the Junior Tag League, win the titles at Wrestle Kingdom, lose the titles in like February, March, or April or some bullshit. Win the Junior Tag League, win the titles at Wrestle Kingdom, lose it. Like, we've had the same story for years and years and years now, but it's probably going to happen again. So,
do you know another book fact? In their history,
this book's got a lot of details. This book here that you're talking about, Joe, I'm telling you, this thing's chock full of good information. Whoever wrote this thing, That's
because we are the definitive voices of New Japan. The Roppongi 3K has had 3 title. They've had 1 title run each year that they've been in the company. That they've been back. In totality, they've had 1 successful title defense. Would you have believed that if I didn't tell you?
I wouldn't. I would have at least thought like 4 or 5. I can't believe it's only 1. That's insane.
That's the thing. They win the junior tournament every year. They've literally won it every year. Okay, since they've been back. At some point, they win the titles. Not always at Wrestle Kingdom, but at some point early in the year, they win the titles, and then they immediately lose them. And then they lose all year long, and then they win the tournament, and rinse, repeat. We do the same thing again. We've done it 3 years in a row. And it is getting tiresome. And I wouldn't mind if they won this match, but I want them to have a long, definitive title reign where they dominate, and they hold the titles all year, and they don't lose them again until next Wrestle Kingdom, and then you break the team up. They've only been around a shade over 2 years, but they feel so long in the tooth. I feel like they've been around a decade. But it's only been a little over 2 years because they came back the tail end of 2017. So it's really all of 18, all of 19, 2 months in 17.
What doesn't help too is I think didn't they in their re-debut match won the titles?
Yes, they did.
So they came back right away, boom, and they already started the story, and we went on the same story since the moment they walked into the company again.
That's right. They won the titles in their first match. Then they won the tag tournament when it was still a knockout tournament. They won 3 matches in a row to win that, and they won like their first 5 or 6 matches before they lost the titles. And then we've been on this constant rinse-repeat cycle with them. But I want them to just have a long definitive run, a trademark run, which they have not had yet, and then split up at the next Wrestle Kingdom. That's what I would like to see, because I would like to see – they're not young either. They're 30 years old. I think they're 31 and 30. They were older young lions than you think. They weren't 18, 19 years old as young lions. They were in their mid-20s already. So that's the other thing, too. It's shit or get off the pot time if you're going to push these guys as singles. It's now or never. Because next year they're 32 and 31. And it's like, come on now. Okada is like, how old is Okada? 34 or something?
Joe, he's 32 years old.
Yeah. Okada's 32.
I wrote in the book that, like, I went over everything he's accomplished at age 32. He's the same age as me. He's almost like identically the same age as me. And like that entire day was like New Year's Day that I was writing this profile. And I'm thinking, man, I got to lose weight. I'm really out of shape. Like, I haven't really been, working out that much, but I can't run because I get shin splints. I'm trying to think of ways that I can, do decent cardio, lose some weight, and not have the shin splints flare up. And this asshole's like, yeah, I've like made him in Tokyo Dome 5 times. The champion for, it's like, you fuck.
And he's essentially the same age as these.
Yeah, right.
I think we all have a world of potential. Not Okada level potential. Let's not get crazy. But I think they could bring something to the table as singles. And sorry, I'm very sick and I just had a coughing fit and I muted. And them doing this act where even their gimmick is like they're teenagers. Their gimmick is that they're teenagers.
It's kind of weird. Yeah, it is a little weird. Yeah, Yo's 31. Jesus, I would have never guessed that he was 31. Yeah. He was born in 1988. My God.
And Show is 30, and it's like, because they were like 24, 25 when they were Lions, and they were Lions forever.
Yeah, oh God, it was excruciatingly long.
So, this team, fuck, man. Yo just needs to turn on this guy already, or the other way around. I don't even care at this point, and just do what you're going to do with them. But, if they win this match, and I think they will, give them that long.
Yeah, let's not have him lose at the anniversary show or lose at New Beginning or what. Yeah, let's try to stretch this out a little bit.
Because if you're gonna split them up and push one or the other, or push both of them, you want to establish that they're dominant over all these other teams before you do that. If they run through the whole division and beat everybody, they beat these guys, they beat them again in a rematch, they beat Kanemaru and Despy, who have really been their top rivals when you really go back and look at the history. You have them beat. Go through every fucking junior team twice if you have to get them through the year, and you prepare another team over the course of the year. I don't know who, maybe someone coming back from whatever, and then they lose at Wrestle Kingdom, and then you split them up. I really think that's the play, and then you do it because then at that point they're 32 and 31 years old, and then from that you're at that point you're starting to run out of time. Because it's going to take a year or two if you're going to push somebody to build them up and all that as a single. It's just the time is low. It's time to kind of get out of this teenager gimmick. It suited them when they came in, but it's like they're out there dancing around. These are 30-year-old men.
You're making me hate this gimmick because I love this gimmick right now, but I promise you, Joe, on night 2 where they're going to be out there fucking gyrating and blowing off their fucking steam, I'm going to be like, oh, man. Because, yeah, they have, like, backwards hats on. They're like, what's up, dude? We're radical. Like, hello, adults. Like, we're skateboarding with their side hats and stuff. Yeah. I never thought of that. Oh, God, I'm going to hate them now. Yeah. Damn it, Joe.
It's like the Fabulous Ones when Steve Keirn started going bald. It's like, look, you can't be a male stripper anymore.
Right, yeah, it's over, dude.
All right, you're too old for this. Okay, it's time to move it along, So,
man, you've ruined Roppongi 3K for me. All right, never mind. They just hit break up now, I guess.
Yeah.
Or get a little serious.
Man, you know what?
So.
guts to do it here. Maybe they lose this match.
Yeah, they fucking start pushing each other, and that'd be interesting.
Maybe that's a better idea, right?
Well, like you said, the only problem with that is like they haven't felt dominant, so it's like where do they go after that? Like they have their little feud, and then when they're done, it's like, all right, what do you do with show? Like what? Like you haven't heated them up yet. I don't think sufficiently enough to be good singles stars. So
you're right. Yeah, it makes more sense for them to dominate first. Absolutely.
Yeah, but they'll probably fucking lose in the anniversary show or some bullshit. All right, move on now. British Heavyweight Championship match, as we said, a little bit higher than the Never Openweight 6-man. Here, the ref for British Heavyweight title. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Sonata. So this will be an interesting one here. I don't know. I'm kind of up in the air of who I think is going to win this one. I think it could go either way, really.
You know what's great about these two shows? I don't really know who's winning a lot of these matches.
I mean, I feel bad that we're not like giving our like Joe and Rich's like official predictions, but it's like, I don't know, I'm just gonna sit back and watch. Like I don't really know. Yeah, it could be either guy. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these matches are 50-50 matches to me. I really don't know. So,
and in a good way, not in a WWE way where it's like, who fucking cares because they didn't think about it either. Like in the fact that like they've told good sufficient stories with either guy where it's like, yeah, I could buy that either guy wins that. So
yeah, where it's not obvious. I don't know who's winning this match. I don't know who's coming away with the U.S. title after all that's said and done. Were we calling that the Never title when we talked about Archer and Moxley? I'm afraid we might have.
I think we said, I said U.S. every time. We may have slipped, but I always try to say U.S. But yeah, it's possible we slipped.
So I don't know who's coming out of the U.S. thing. I don't know who's winning that junior tag match. Because Juice is in the U.S. thing, I don't know who's winning the heavyweight tag match. The tournament for the heavyweight title is, we just talked about how up in the air that is. They've done a good job booking this thing to where the finishes are not obvious really in any of the matches. So I think that's important to note too.
And that gives us a nice way to kind of move into this match too. The IWGP United States Championship to be decided. The champion coming in versus Juice Robinson. As you said, there's some weird issues there where the two men have to battle in a Texas death match, and then Juice, can pick up their scraps the next night. And that's why I really do think that Juice is winning this match, and that's why I have no idea what's going on with night one. Because in my mind, it's probably going to be Moxley defeating Lance Archer. And then Moxley, I don't know if you can really have him hold that title or leave Japan with that title. Not that I don't think he's going to come back, but because you don't know exactly when he's coming back, you don't know his next schedule, you don't know his next booking, that makes no sense to really have him keep the title. So I think it makes a lot of sense then to have Juice win the title on the way out. But I mean, it's possible that guy runs through both guys. Maybe Juice wins, the tag titles the night prior and then loses here. And maybe Archer wins both, or maybe Moxley wins both or whatever. I don't know. It's like, for me, the scenario that seems most likely to me is that Juice leaves here as the champion. But I mean, I don't know. I could be talked into any other scenario as well.
Yeah. I mean, are they going to use this title to headline their United States shows? If that's the case, Moxley can't come away with the title, because he cannot work the U.S. shows. And
that, to me, is the biggest thing that I think about for this title, especially with New Japan and USA coming up, that it's got to be someone like an Archer or probably more suited for that. It might be Juice, but I guess Archer could be suited for that as well. But like, that's the important thing there is like, the way I think of that title is, yes, that title will have an important part of that New Japan and USA stuff. And then it literally cannot be Moxley. Moxley cannot do that. So it has to be either Archer or Juice, and Juice seems like the more likely pick in my mind right now.
Or are we just assuming that title, that those tours will be built around that title? They might just build those tours around Okada for all we know. We don't, I have no idea. So if that's the case, then anyone can come out of this little threesome with the title. It doesn't make a difference. So I don't know. But other than that, it's hard to really break down a match where I don't know who one of the two participants is. But this is the most awkwardly booked thing on the show.
I hate it. I don't like it at all. It's so weird. We have one more that's even a little more dumb, but I think that will literally be like you and I think we'll say 5 words and move on there. But it's not going to be this one. Kenta versus Hiroki Goto. We were very upset about this a few weeks ago. Joe, have you cooled down a little bit? Are you a little bit more excited about Kenta versus Hiroki Goto, or are you just pissed that it's not Shibata?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to do all that again. I mean, we said our piece when it comes to that. I still think he did way too much physically to where there's no plans. So I don't know if that's just wishful thinking, or I don't know. If you can get yanked down from the apron and you can take bumps, then what's the difference in whether a bell rings before you do it or not?
Right. The drop kick, man. Like if his head is so like, oh my God, you can't touch his head or else his brain's gonna explode. The man did a drop kick and landed on the back of his head in the corner. Like, come on.
And in that LA dojo, I'm sure he's doing physical things. But I don't know. And we speculated on it the first time we previewed the show. Maybe they're saving a Shibata return match for one of the big building shows later in the year.
Right.
And this would be your setup. I don't know. But Kenta's been such a great champion. And not because he's had 100 tremendous title defenses or anything like that. Just because he's back to being a prick. And that's what he needs to be. Just a bully and an asshole, and he's just so much comfortable in that role. And his promos have been just incredible. And you really want to see Goto kick his ass. You know what I mean? You just want to see Goto kick this guy's ass and hit the fucking Ushigoroshi in the reverse fucking GTR gimmick or whatever and pin him in the middle. You really it's been well built in that regard because Kenta's such an asshole. But again, I don't have a good feel for who's going to win this. If Shibata Wrestling is in the cards, then Kenta's winning. Mm-hmm. And if he's not, then Goto's winning. It's really as simple as that.
Yeah, I was going to say that's exactly what it comes down to. And this is one that I think a lot of people will be shocked if Goto wins this match, but I wouldn't be super shocked if he does. Goto is still, for all the Goto the geek jokes and all that sort of stuff, he's still treated like a pretty big deal. I mean, this guy, is not far removed from having some big time matches and big time wins at Wrestle Kingdoms before. So yeah, it would not be out of the question if he goes in there and, as you said, just fucking drops that geek on his fucking, the back of his, or drops that asshole on the back of his head and pins him in the middle of the ring or whatever. There's not any, possible, that could definitely happen too. But yeah, I could see just as likely Kenta winning. And that's cool. This is another match that I go into saying, all right, I don't know who's going to win and I'm excited to see it. Because yeah, I could justify either guy winning and be totally fine with it. So
Wrestle Kingdom is this guy's show. Okay, he's won tag titles there. He beat Suzuki there in a great match. He wrestled Shibata at Wrestle Kingdom. He had I think he had a great match.
Yeah, they won the tag. Yeah, did you say the tag titles already? I forgot if you said that. Yeah.
I mean, he's had some excellent Wrestle Kingdoms, Goto. So, he's dropped the ball at some other shows, but he's always treated well on this show, and he always performs well on this show. And I think these two guys will have a hard-hitting... Goto always has hard-hitting matches, too. And, Kenta is not afraid to mix it up. So I could see this being a very hard-hitting match. And to a certain segment of fan, I think this might... If the match is as good as it can be, to a certain segment of fan, this will be their favorite match on both nights. Because it'll be hard-hitting and throwback, and it'll be nasty. And if there's limited that's just the thing though with Kenta too. His matches have had a lot of bullshit. So, if you got Yujiro sliding into the ring and Shibata chasing them off, I mean, that takes the edge off a little bit. And I could easily see that happening.
Man, Goto is a beast at Wrestle Kingdom, man. Have you looked at his... Oh my God, I'm looking... Run
it down, go ahead.
Yeah, so 2008, Wrestle Kingdom 2, he loses the Great Muta. That's fine, Take a pin to the Great Muta. That's no problem. It's 2008. It's a long time ago. Next year, 2009, him and Nakamura defeat Misawa and Segura. That's a pretty good. Wrestle Kingdom 4, 2010, Segura defeats Hiroki Goto. So, okay, 2 in a row. Avenges the year prior. 2011, again, he loses again. Him and Okada lose to Segura and Takayama. So we're not quite there yet, but by 2012, we get started here.
That's young boy Okada.
Exactly. Too. Right. But 2012, he beats Segura. 2013, he loses, him and Carl Anderson lose the Killer Elite Squad. And so then...
it was the long Noah feud for like 4 years.
Right.
Culminated with the singles match against Takashi Segura. Yeah. So then, what was that tag match there you just said?
Then, Wrestle Kingdom 7 was KS, Smith and Archer, defeating Goto and Anderson to retain the tag team titles. And then, 2014 beats Shibata. 2015, him and Shibata beat the Bullet Club, Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson. 2016, he beats Tetsuya Naito. I think a lot of people forget about that match even happening at all. 2017, he beats Shibata. Yeah.
follow-up was so bad because he had that awful match against Okada at New Beginning.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, they built him up, and then, that was...
White paint and all that, and then they had... Anyway.
2017, he beats Shibata for the Never Openweight title. 2018, he beats Suzuki for the Never Openweight title.
Yeah.
And 2019, he was in the Never Openweight Gauntlet, so
Right.
we'll just strike that one from the record. But otherwise, other than that, he's been pretty good ever since that match against Segura in 2012. He's pretty much been on a huge roll.
And all of those matches were awesome for the most part. So I told you this is kind of like his show.
Mm-hmm.
He's usually put in a decent position, and he almost always performs well.
All right, and then the match I think Joe and I will have maybe 5 combined words about. It is the third place match, the Okada versus Ibushi loser versus the Naito and White loser. But
yeah, I don't know. I just hope it's a really great match, whoever ends up in it.
Yeah, same as me. So I can't break down a third place. I just can't. I know some people are like, I saw in some previews or whatnot. I think our own preview was like, oh, American fans don't like it, but in Europe and soccer, and I don't care. I don't care about a third place. I'm never going to care about a third place. Maybe it's an America thing. Maybe it's a me thing. Maybe it's a sports thing. I don't know, but I'm never, ever, ever going to care about a third place match. I don't care.
Yeah, don't care.
I would just turn in the bronze. I just say you can keep it. I don't really want it. So
I just want to see. I want to see a great wrestling match.
Exactly. Yeah. That's all you hope, and you hope that the hope is that like whoever loses there, or whoever the two losers are, that they go out there, they have a great match, and then it's obvious that when it's ready, that next guy now is he can get another title shot somewhere down the line or whatever. But yeah, that's all you're really looking for.
Yeah,
it's a good match out of there. We have here Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Chris Jericho. But Joe, this is just a normal singles match. Jericho making a challenge out to Tanahashi, but they've added a little stipulation here. If Tanahashi wins, he will receive a match for Jericho's AEW World Championship, Joe. Oh my God, the controversy. For some reason.
Anyone who doesn't like this is fucking out of their mind.
They're fucking dorks.
You're out of your mind. This makes this match so much more interesting. I mean, there's no counter argument. You cannot. I don't care if you hate AEW. I don't care if you think the Elite are geeks, and if you don't want AEW and New Japan intermingling, that's fine. You're entitled to that opinion. What you can't argue with me about is that this stipulation does not make this match immensely more interesting than it was before. And it's just so intriguing how it's going to be booked now. Before, it didn't really matter all that much. You just had these two legends. One will win, one will lose. It was inconsequential, really, what the result was going to be. Now, with all of these politics involved, and it's going to be so much more tense and so much more dramatic with these near falls, with the possibility that if Tanahashi wins this match, he's going to be wrestling on an AEW show at some point, or challenging for that title on a New Japan show. I mean, it has added so much to a match that Rich honestly was cold. This match was cold as ice.
There wasn't anything going on. Yeah, I was kind of hyped for this match when it first got announced, and then just like nothing happened. Obviously, Jericho's busy. He's not in Japan. He wasn't even sending as many videos that he had been doing prior. Like, there was nothing going on with this thing. And I'm wondering, I'm looking at this thing like, oh man, this is the semi-main event of night 2. Like, this needs to deliver. And now it's pretty big. Now it's pretty fun. And I mean, I'm not betting against Hiroshi Tanahashi on a Wrestle Kingdom. I'm not betting against Chris Jericho in a big moment either. But yeah, now you have that added little story there. Like, I thought the match itself, no matter what the story was going to be a good match, because those two guys are always going to bring it. But now there's a little bit more of a stipulation there, a little bit more of an interest in who wins and how they win and the style in which the match is wrestled. There's a lot that matters here. So I'm excited about it. I can't wait.
Rich, this match was ice cold. Jericho did the video at Power Struggle and then nothing. And now it's the most intriguing results on the entire, more so than even who wins the tournament. To me, this is the most intriguing result, because it has ripple effects in the entire industry, depending what happens here in this match. And, I am so curious how this is going to be booked. Jericho has lost like his last 2 or 3 New Japan matches, so he's due to win one. And I know that to some extent he's bulletproof, but eventually you got to win a match at some point. And then you got Tanahashi and the possibility of him winning, and then the whole that guarantees that there's going to be at least some more interaction between the two companies. Holy shit, did they just take this match from, on a scale of 0 to 100, I think when Jericho challenged a Power Struggle, maybe this would have been a 70 or an 80. And then it cooled off to the point where we were at like a 20. And now that, we've added the stipulation, this match is like a 90. So there's no question it's poured some kerosene and lit it on fire for what previously was an ice cold match. It's a stroke of genius by these two guys. And good for New Japan and good for AEW to go along with it. And maybe it was just Jericho and Tanahashi going into business for themselves at first.
Right. That was going to be my next question. Is this something that they started, or is this something that the company started? But I tend to think it was just those two dudes kind of freestyling.
It was them. I think these two guys knew the match was cold. I think Tanahashi knew the match was cold, and he threw that out there. Jericho, as you know, is just, when it comes to this stuff, he's a genius. He's a brilliant guy. He knew it was cold. He knew to run with it. And Rich, if there's two guys in each of these respective companies who can get away with going into business for themselves, it's these two.
Oh, yeah, because you're not going to tell Jericho, nah, man, don't do that, or get Jericho in trouble. And yeah, Tanahashi's fucking Teflon in New Japan as well.
Yeah, what are they going to do? They're going to fire Tanahashi?
Right.
Is AEW going to tell Jericho what to do? These are the two guys in each company that can get away with going into business for themselves. And then when New Japan saw that it had people talking, of course they went with it. And what's AEW going to do? Are they going to jump in and stop this? No, they want to do business with New Japan. So they're not going to, be assholes about it. They this is good for them. Their foot is in the door now. This is good for everybody. But it's especially good for the 40,000 people sitting in that building on the 5th and everybody else watching on New Japan World, because the stakes for this match just went from no stakes to the ultimate stakes and the ultimate curiosity of what's going to happen here. So, this was a match that I was fairly interested in before, but now it's like maybe my second or third most anticipated match just to see how they book it. So this was just, if this was Tanahashi and Jericho just doing this on their own, it's genius level. But this is two guys who are wrestling geniuses, so it makes sense. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm excited about it now too, and yeah, I can't wait to see what the result is. And another one where, again, like I'd see it pretty likely that Tanahashi could win, and I could see it pretty likely that Jericho wins as well. So where are you residing? Like if you're a betting man, which of the two? Well, you are a betting man, but if you're betting on this particular match and this particular show, where would you put your money?
Well, I think Jericho's going to win, and I think that they probably knew that was the finish, and then Tanahashi, a light bulb probably went off and said, well, shit, if I'm losing anyway, right? Why don't we do this? Because he's the one who brought it up first. He said, if I win, I want a shot at that title. And if he knew he wasn't winning, he knew he could get away with saying that. And then Jericho probably thought to himself, well, shit, that's pretty brilliant. I'm going over in this match anyway, so why don't we just add these stakes that are going to get everybody talking? It's going to make this cold match into a hot match. And there's no harm, no foul, because I'm winning the match anyway. Right? So to me, that's what I think the thought process was. And then from the AEW side, there's, no, apprehension of your champion being beat, because they don't want, they might not. And it's like from the New Japan side, well, Tanahashi was losing anyway, so what's the difference? So no one really, there's nothing to lose here for any side, but there's something to gain for everybody. So I do think Jericho will win.
Percent chance, like any chance in your mind that Tanahashi wins?
Well, I want Tanahashi to win.
I think it'd be cool. For wrestling, that would be pretty cool.
It'd be great for wrestling. I like the chaos. I would love to see people whine and cry about New Japan doing business with AEW from a Schadenfreude aspect. I would love that. So I will root for Tanahashi, and I hope he wins. And but I think Jericho will win, though, and I think if I were to put, I'd say it's 70-30 or 80-20 that Jericho would win. I think he should be a heavy favorite. I don't know what the actual betting odds are, but if he's a slight favorite or if it's even money, I think he's a great bet. But I will be rooting for Tanahashi. But listen, Jericho hits that Judas effect out of nowhere and pins this guy. I mean, I would like that too. Like,
for sure,
I don't.
yeah.
That'd be a lot of fun too, you know. And it's. I can't figure out, and let me pitch this to you because I know you like them too. I can't figure out if I like Jericho in an ironic way or a real way. I cannot pin it down. Is he good or does he suck? I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
I enjoy the fuck out of everything he does. Like, I love his promos are just great.
No, I mean the promos, that's unquestioned. Yeah, he's fucking.
If you don't
fantastic.
like his promos, I don't understand why you like. It's such total perfect pro wrestling promo stuff. I mean, you gotta love his promos.
Wait, I saw like people last night being like, he's talking about this card being worth $1 million. It's only 500,000. I'm like, that's the fucking joke, you idiot. He's a coked out like fucking rock star who doesn't know. He's on the heel. The heels are lie. They're stupid. Like, but people are so. It's the brain rot. Heels are always the smartest, best.
Yep.
You know, they're always conniving. They're always beating up the baby faces or whatever. And they forget that old school heels were just like fucking wrong all the time. They're just liars. They're just assholes. And they believe their own bullshit. So Chris Jericho's like, yeah, this card's great. Yeah, this guy, you know, and he believes his own bullshit because he's a heel. So, but anyway,
they embellish, they lie, they exaggerate. That's what a heel does. Think of the people you hate in your own life. They're liars. They exaggerate. They embellish. They're, you know, it's you know, that you're right. That's old school. But you know, people are stupid. But as far as his wrestling goes, okay, I can't figure out if this shit is good or I'm caught up in some, you know, ironic fucking vortex where I'm just so into the character and wrapped up in all that. So what do you think? Because you're someone else who typically enjoys his matches the way that I do. Is he good or is he an old chubby guy with weird abs on top of his fat? Why does he have abs on top of his fat?
I don't know. I have no idea. His entire body just kind of but his body fits his character. It does,
too.
And that's what you know, the reason why, and this is why I'm going to say that he's good at it, is because if his character was that he was this flamboyant, like badass baby face that the girls want to be with and the guys want to be or whatever, then it would suck because he turns purple. He's fat. He's got abs on top of his fat. His fat's hanging over his belt. He clearly only drinks vodka, and that's his, you know, source of nutrition.
Sustenance.
Yeah, but like, he's like an overweight like rock star that thinks he's a bigger deal than he is. So it works. Yeah. And that's why I think it's good, because he plays the role perfectly. He does that role. Like, he's not trying to be anything that he's not. And the role is that, he's an overweight, out of shape, you know, past his prime rock star.
But he thinks he looks good.
Right. He thinks he looks like $1 million. He thinks he's got the teased hair going. He's got the glasses. He thinks he looks like $1 million.
Yeah, he looks in the mirror and he thinks it's 1997.
Right.
But he doesn't understand. Yeah.
So that's why I think it's good, because he wrestles to that style too, because he's just a big fatty that just kind of like loafs around the ring or whatever. But it works though, because, and the cool thing about it too is he'll show you a little bits of the old Jericho, but not a lot of that. And that he would, if he tried to be the old Jericho and just sucked at it and would slip on the lion salt and kind of look like shit when he did a lot of his stuff, then no, it would be crap. It would be garbage. But he's not sloppy. He's just like, he looks sloppy. But his actual in-ring work is that he's just kind of this fat brawler now. So it works. It really does. No, I don't think it's ironic. I think he's legitimately good at his role. So your question, like, in a vacuum, is he a good wrestler? No, I mean, like, I'd rather watch 100 Will Osprey matches before I'd watch, 100, recent year Chris Jericho matches. But the role is perfect. He nails the role exactly the way you want it, and it's fine. Like, it works for that, and it works for his character. So it's
the matches are good.
No, they are.
But it's like, that's why
he's good.
Weird.
He's good. No, he is. He's good at that. He's good at being a sloppy, drunk, fat guy.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's, you're right. I don't know if that's me being ironic about it or not. But
you see how confusing it is?
It is tough. He's so good. Hey, that's why he's one of the greatest of all time. Like, he makes bad good. Like, his matches are bad, but they're also fantastic and good.
But they're not bad. They're good, but
they are bad though. They're like, it's but it is what a thought experiment you've given me here.
But like the way he moves around the ring and stuff, it fits who his wrestling character is, and I think that's what you were just trying to express. You know what I mean? Like, he's not. The grittiness works for him. And it's not so sloppy to where it's bad. It's still good. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But do I trust that he's going to get in there with arguably the greatest wrestler of all time and have a good match? Yeah, I trust that a lot. I think they're going to go in there and they're going to kill it. I do. Is there a possibility that with Tanahashi's body and Jericho teetering the line between good and bad, that it could fall apart? I think that possibility exists too, but they're so charismatic that I think that could carry them anyway, even if the match isn't clicking the way that they might want it to. And especially now with all this added drama with the stipulation, I don't know. I'm fucking into this match.
No, I can't wait, man. I can't wait for this match. I like sloppy, drunk, purple Chris Jericho. I love it. I
would like to see Tanahashi win, to see people whine about it, because people are going to be mad if Tanahashi wins and there's more of this AEW New Japan stuff. So I think the reactions to that stuff will be interesting.
All right, and then the main event of Night 2, of course, as mentioned, the IWGP Heavyweight Champion versus the IWGP Intercontinental Champion. Joe, we talked about it a little bit in our preview of Night 1, but this is the final pick, the final prediction is the match Okada versus Naito, and Naito walks out as champion.
That's my prediction. The intrigue for me beyond that is this the end of the IC title? And do they then elevate Never or US or Junior, as we discussed earlier, to being the equal of the heavyweight or the other thing that could headline? This is another argument in favor of elevating the entire junior division, right? If you get rid of the IC, you need something to fill that void. If Shibata's coming back, then it's Never. Then it's easy. We talked about that last time, right? Shibata against Kenta for the Never title, Dominion or wherever. And then, Shibata is your 1B to your 1A. But if he's not coming back, and these US guys in the mix right now don't seem like main event caliber guys, at least not today, when you're talking about Lance Archer and Juice Robinson and people like that, then maybe if they do eliminate IC and they just merge these together as sort of an undisputed champion or whatever, you need something else to headline those off shows. Maybe that's where Hiromu comes in and what we discussed before. I'm just tossing that out there. Because what do you do with the Intercontinental title once somebody wins them both? Do they just immediately give it up? Well, then what was the point of all this?
Right, and it also makes that title look like an absolute geek title then, too.
Yeah.
Like, if the guy's like, I don't really want this thing, I don't really need this anymore. And they've kind of done some damage to that title already, and they're kind of sort of rebuilding it, but yeah, that would lose all goodwill again if like the guy wins it and is just like, I don't really want this title.
So I kind of think they might just be folding it in, and then you're going to need something to replace it. And we talked about Gato's booking earlier, a couple hours ago, I guess at this point, but he's not someone who's unprepared for these scenarios. I mean, so I don't know. That there's a lot of intrigue there, and there's a lot of puzzle pieces that need to fall into place. And I think after these two shows, there's going to be a lot of new directions in this company that none of us saw coming, and I'm trying to identify them the best I can and throw some scenarios out there. So, I'll probably be wrong about most of this. Maybe I've nailed some of it, but I really feel like there's going to be a bunch of new creative changes for the company in 2020 that are going to scare a lot of people. A lot of people will complain. A lot of people will think it's fresh and new, but I do think new stuff is coming just by the layout of these shows and how there's little hints, and some of it wouldn't, I just don't think it's just going to be a straightforward couple of shows where it's the status quo when all the dust settles. I do think there's going to be some shakeups and changes.
No, it definitely feels that way. Yeah, there's enough things on the show, and there's enough kind of new directions that you could see, and that's what we always talk about with these Wrestle Kingdoms, and people kind of forget about them, in the build-ups to them. But there's a lot of times there are some dramatic new directions that happen after these shows or whatnot, and more times than not, things don't go always according to plan. Things do kind of get pretty crazy after them. Like, not many of them are exactly as you expected, and when it's over, everything's the same. Like, there's a lot of transformative things that happen, and the biggest thing could be that IC title, which it doesn't make sense to have a double champion, and like you said, the idea is he defending this every month or what? Like, that's not even a good scenario either, because that's unsustainable that the guy defends it every single month or whatever. And then it's even worse too if, say he defends it that first month and loses it at New Beginning or loses it at whatever in March or whatever. It's just like, oh, all right, it wasn't really worth anything, and then we're kind of just back to square one with that title that just doesn't kind of work. So I love the idea of rolling those titles in to each other and then making the Never something bigger, or making the juniors that secondary title, which makes all the sense in the world to me.
You're not gonna have this double champion thing and then not fold those titles into each other. You can't. The winner isn't going to defend both of these titles separately. They're not going to do that. It wouldn't make any sense. It's got to be, either folded into each other or something that's renamed or something which would, really buck against history to change the name of the top title. I don't think they would do that. But yeah, it's not going to be a thing where this guy has two different titles and is alternating defending them. I don't think they're going that route, which is why I think you kind of just have to get rid of the Intercontinental then. And maybe they do feel like they have too many titles right now, and this kills two birds with one stone. It gives someone a mega push as the double champion, and it eliminates one of the singles titles.
Right, and it particularly works too, that story that you're mentioning. It particularly works with Naito if he wins both, because he's shown complete disdain for that IC title. So he's probably the best guy to say, hey, this title's only meant pain and suffering for me or whatever. So I don't need this title anymore, and I don't want this title anymore, and we're not this title's he's the perfect guy to do that, because it would be a little out of character for Kota Ibushi to just be like, I don't really want this title, or some official word or whatever. So Naito in that sense does work as the best guy to kind of say, hey, now that I have both belts, I have no need for this title anymore, and nobody has a need for this title anymore. I'm retiring it, as the final champion or whatever. So it's a good scenario to kind of play it out with. That works, because it's just not sustainable to have a guy defending both titles, and I think it just doesn't work very well if he just loses it in March, and they don't do that anyway. New Japan does not have, they're not going to have their world champion lose an IC title match against Goto in March or whatever. That's just not how they book either.
No, yeah, I know.
They're not going to lose. That guy's not going to lose. So he's going to have to lose the title at some point. So I don't know. I guess he carries around both titles for a year in the other scenario, and that's kind of lame too. That doesn't really make much sense. So they need to find a way to break him off or absorb him. So we'll see what it is. But so your official prediction is Naito over Okada winning both belts?
Yeah, I'm not going to predict anything cute. I think they're just going to do the smart, logical thing here and give people the finish that they've been building for the last couple of years. Yeah, I'm
kind of there as well. Would I be stunned if a cute scenario happens? No. Would I be upset if a cute scenario happens? No. But yeah, that's the scenario I see playing out as well. So anyway, Naito versus Okada. That's a prediction we both have for night 2, with Naito remaining or becoming the double champion there. Joe, anything else on Wrestle Kingdom 14 or anything else on New Japan Pro Wrestling?
No, I feel like
you're gonna die. So you got a busy weekend. You got Wrestle Kingdom. Let's rest you up, get that voice back.
Yeah, I mean, breaking kayfabe here because it's all edited and pieced together. I vomited during this.
It was pretty gross. Yeah.
So
I heard the beginning of a vomit and then silence, and I was like, oh, that didn't sound good. So
yeah, but I mean, I feel like there hasn't been a lot of sleep, a lot of late nights for both of us. It feels like the finish line, and now we got to stay up until 6 in the morning.
Now we have 2 straight fucking nights of these shows. God damn.
3. New Year Dash.
Oh god, fuck New Year Dash. I'll watch it later.
And Miyahara versus Jake Lee is about to hit the ring as we record this on a Thursday night.
So your ass isn't going to bed. You're just going to watch that.
No, I'm not going. I never said I was going to bed, but this feels like
you need to.
Between the book and getting this show done, it feels like the finish. Oh, and I'm doing 2 audio shows tomorrow, so we got to do the Thursday TV review. The ratings coming out, and I gotta another news update I want to do tomorrow too. So I'm going to do some audio tomorrow, I think. Take care of the subscribers, man. Patreon.com/voicesofwrestling. Best time to subscribe is right now, beginning of the month. You get that full value, full 30 days. Is it 30 days in January? 31, right?
31, 30 days, 30 or 31, whatever. Who cares? You're going to get the
30 days has September, April, June, and November. So it's 31. You know that little rhyme?
One mnemonic. I've never heard that in my life, I don't think so.
I'll tell you, ready? Listen.
Okay.
30 days has September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31.
Interesting.
See, that's how you remember.
Okay, yeah. I already forgot, but that's fine. Say it a few more times. Not today, you got to go, but another time we'll say that, and then
it's very easy.
September, October. Days. Who was the other one? September, October. What?
What's wrong with you? It rhymes. Listen, 30 days has September, April, June, and November.
Okay.
It's 4 months that have 30 days.
Got it.
September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31. And
what about leap years? That doesn't account for leap years at all.
February, which has 20. Isn't this a leap year?
I don't know. Let me check.
Or was last year a leap year? Or is this year a leap year?
This year, February.
This year's
29th. Leap year.
This year's a leap year.
Born 2 days away from a leap year. That'd be incredible. But anyway.
I don't know what that means. When's your birthday?
27th. February 27th. So very close.
Leap year birthdays are shit, right? There's just such shit going on a leap year. That's such shit. Like, it's not the worst, though. Like, you mentioned the nurse's birthday is the 27th.
Yeah, December 27th. Like, get out of here. She gets one set of gifts every year. I'm not buying.
Yeah. Total rip job. Like, the boy in this house, his birthday's like December 20th. It's like he gets ripped off, too. Like, you just take a gift off the Christmas pile, and that's the birthday.
Right, exactly. I just give her all of her stuff at Christmas and go, that's your birthday gift, too. Enjoy it. So.
Fucking horrible, you know? And if you're born on leap day, what do? You do it on you don't have a fucking birthday.
Yeah, they're like, we'll make it March 1st this year. We'll make it February 28th this year. Yeah, it would kind of suck. So
yeah, it's such shit. Yeah, it's a terrible birthday to have. Yeah, that's it. I guess I'm tired.
Yeah, watch that match and then pass out and please get some sleep. Anyway, patreon.com/voicesofwrestling. We have not talked about what we're going to do this weekend as well, but expect some content this weekend during Wrestle Kingdom, as well as Joe mentioning that. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'll be around, so you might be sleeping, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Why would I be sleeping?
I don't know. We'll figure it out. We haven't discussed that yet. So
you don't think I'm watching Wrestle Kingdom?
No, I know you're watching Wrestle Kingdom live. I just don't know if you're going to have the ability to do audio immediately after. So
what the fuck? I just did this show and paused to vomit during the show, and I have no voice. I just told you I'm doing 2 shows tomorrow. Listen, I put into work. So what do you mean you don't think I got me to do a show? I just did this show. Unbelievable. Jeez, this was like over 3 hours long too, wasn't it? Well, maybe without the edits.
No, we take out all your puking and the nurse being annoying. Yeah, we'll be able to. Yeah. Get that down to under 3 hours. Anyway, patreon.com/voicesofwrestling for all the bonus content we have coming up in the next few days. Voicesofwrestling.com for the ebook, as well voicesofwrestling.com/NJPW 19 book if you want to download that. You can also just search Voices of Wrestling Year in Review ebook. You should find it both on the PayHip as well as Amazon. It'd be very easy to find on Amazon as well. Just type in Voices of Wrestling and all of our past books will be up there for you. So nice and easy there. We have previews, also written previews of both nights of Wrestle Kingdom if you want to go and check that out as well and see what everybody on our site is thinking about these shows as well. That might have been another Joe beginning. It's either cough attack or a vomit, but we got to get out of here. Anyway, for Joe Lanza, I'm Rich Craich. We'll see you guys next time on the Voice Wrestling Flagship Podcast. Take care.